Kohberger allegedly stalked one of the victims. That's false.
We do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122, but we can put his phone in that area. There are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants.
Everything is alleged. So this is how I have decided to do this section. Because you guys know that the timeline that is in this book was something that we have already gone over in way of, there was an audio version of this book available, and as some sort of additional attachment, there was the chapter 9 timeline. Now, it didn't really have any other context besides like, hey, here's this timeline. The book has additional information. So what I did, because I am taking the book and putting notes and stuff in it, see, so I went in and did this, but I created this right here. I'm going to open this. I took pictures of them and then uploaded them to my editor. And we're going to look at it off of this when we start doing that so that you guys can see the way that I did it. And the way that it is that the yellow is everything that I am considering like an official piece of information. And the only reason I say it like that is because when you were discussing, and this is going to be something that I'm going to mention for all of them that are like this, when you are discussing something like a timestamp in a video, there is no freaking reason why you are using Payne's report number, blah, 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 as your source for this information instead of the actual video itself. When you're using timestamps from other videos, why aren't you using timestamps for all videos? Or like when it comes to somebody texted this information or somebody called this person, it's like, oh, we got that from an interview. You have the phone records. Like that kind of stupidity is what angers me about this timeline, because I feel like it's shittily done. And there's no reason to be referencing man-written reports if you have the actual electronic data. I don't understand that. I feel like that's not how this is supposed to be. Now, I have FOIA'd this. Hopefully, they actually give it to us. I highly doubt it. If they do, it's, I mean, I don't know how much money they're going to cost. Like, it would cost for this. We know how much they usually charge for, like, heavily redacted audio, which is, like, hundreds of dollars, right? My thing with this is that if they give it to us, we know they're going to redact it. Like, we have full-on names of people in this book. Nathan Rios, Jack Granger. Like, there's all kinds of names of people in the way that he put it in here. MPD is not going to give it to us like that. They're going to go in and redact everything when it comes to names. Probably some of like the messages that we have that are in quotations, we probably will get nothing but a big black box over the Erica messages to Ethan about being cheated on. Like, that's how it's going to come to us. And I'm just curious as to how much they're going to charge if they allow us to have it, because it's about 108 pages and over 1,000 entries. And I honestly just don't trust Mia Batista to be able to read through a document that quickly, you know? And she's $103 an hour. So we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do, but it's been requested and we are just waiting. I went straight to MPD. Probably not. Not when Mia Batista is $103 an hour and she is the last step and it's 108 pages. Probably not. We'll see. Yeah, right? Right? And you have to think about it. Like, that's on top of what she's already doing. That's on top of what she's already doing. And we also know how attorneys bill their hours, okay? We also know how they play that little game. So, before we actually get to this section, there's a couple things in front of it that I have highlighted that we're going to discuss, because he talks about some of the other things, some of the stuff about Kohberger, some of the stuff about the sheath, I mean, the K-bar purchase itself, some other things that is on this spreadsheet that he just didn't add. So I have that stuff highlighted in here, and I'm just going to like read it off to you guys. It's not too much. And then we'll start going over the actual timeline. But this is where he states that it was 108 pages composed of well over 1,000 individual cells. Each entry listed date, time, and nature of the event and the source from which the information was derived. So then it says the very first entry, and I don't really quite understand this. The very first entry is when Kohberger changes the battery in his car. Why does that have anything to do with anything? And then when he changes his brakes, why is that in there? See, like the redundant shit that they spent their own hours on? What? Why is that in there? So that just tells you how much redundant shit, if they give it to us, how much redundantly irrelevant to what we are looking for bullshit we're going to have to wade through. So what's going to end up happening is I'm probably going to end up having to go in and remove, like create the list again, but remove all the dumb shit like that for 108 pages worth of shit. Because what do we need that for? The Google Drive, I love the Google Drive. I cannot wait until I get like all the documents and everything actually all in there and put together, and all the FOIAs in there and everything's up to date. Oh my God. It's gonna be glorious. Because then it'll be easy and I won't feel so overwhelmed. I should have been doing it all along. But I mean, I started this when I wasn't in the best place with getting out of my situation. So I just wasn't as organized as I can be now that I'm doing what I'm doing now. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and read the actual highlighted parts here. And I'm just going to repeat basically what I just said, but in the way that he wrote it. The very first entry, for example, states that Bryan Kohberger replaced the battery in his Hyundai Elantra in July of 2020, more than 2 years before the crimes. The next shows him replacing his brake pads 2 days later, so still in 2020, at a place called Kernodle Auto near his parents' home in Pennsylvania. Those wondering what this might have to do with 4 murders 2 years later in Idaho will note that it wasn't until December the 9th of 2020 that he even submitted his application to WSU. And then it goes down and says stuff about the Amazon purchase. It's interesting the way that he words this in here, because I'm really curious as to if this is how it's worded in that little spreadsheet. Because this doesn't give you a clue to shit, okay? They recorded his purchase of an Amazon gift card on March 20th, 2022, for example. Ready? Get ready. And that someone used it 1 day later to order a K-bar knife and a sheath that was delivered to his parents' home in Albrightsville. Does the freaking trial exhibit timeline literally not specifically state that Kohberger purchased the damn thing? Did it literally get sent over to the prosecutor's office? Literally just stating that someone used it the next day to buy a K-bar? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? I hate this case. Oh my God, I hate this case so much. They do not explain why they assumed this is the same knife sheath found in pristine condition 2,560 miles away, partially lodged under Maddie Mogen's thigh. It was not until a week after the K-bar purchase that Kohberger even received his admission certificate from WSU. Only then did he receive a funding package through the spring of 2023. So this thing was purchased on the Amazon account with still no clarity by the way he's putting this in here. And the way that he's wording it, I'm going to assume that that's how it's worded on the damn timeline. That's the best y'all have. Someone used it. And I'm telling you now, I don't understand why they haven't showed us the damn order detail. Why do we need to know? Why do we need a federal specialist of any kind to come in and preach to us on the stand about click activity and subliminal messaging when it comes to how they hint to you items to. Why do we need any of that? If the damn knife sheath that was purchased matches the one found at the scene, why are they not just showing us the damn receipt? It has a photo of the item. It has descriptions. This is the dumbest shit. Literally, if this if this only states that someone used it the next day and there is no clarification, what are we doing? I know what we're doing. What the hell were they doing? That's crazy. Crazy. Bill Thompson's timeline is painstakingly thorough. Okay, that's an opinion. Police focused on Kohberger's day-to-day life, everything from coffee purchases at Starbucks to shopping sprees at Marshall's, Ross Dress for Less, Crimson and Gray, which is a WSU store, Dick's Sporting Goods, Macy's, and Big Five. Now, we do know that when it came to the self-authentication of records whole situation, that there was a lot of these like Ross Dress for Less, Marshall's receipts that were all submitted in this like same packet of information, but there was nothing there. Like there was actually no receipts, or like one store's receipts were in the label for a different store and that store actually didn't have its own receipt. There was a lot of disorganization in those files. That was a nightmare to go through, because it was almost like every week or so they were like fighting back and forth about what was taken away, what new information that they had. And at the end of the day, like what was it, like 85% almost of everything that they had in that argument got tossed. Useless, irrelevant. We don't have it. It has nothing to do with anything. They recorded the purchase of a toilet brush, nitrile gloves, and a Swiffer wet jet at Walmart, haircuts at Powers Barbershop, and SW Plastic M he bought at Target. What does that mean? Does that mean he actually bought an M? The way that like Maddie had an M in her room? Is that what that means? Let me go to Target. Or let me just type in SW Plastic M Target. Smith & Wesson is coming up. Target doesn't sell stuff like that. Let me just click on Target. Hold on. I don't know what okay. SW Plastic M. Like, this is all I'm getting here. I mean, it's just whatever random storage showed up. I don't even know what that thing is. But what... And like, that's literally how it is. I'll show y'all so that y'all know like what I'm typing in here. Well, I have it highlighted, but I guess let me underline it. SW Plastic M. And the M is, SW and M are capitalized. Let me turn on the light. See right there? SW Plastic M. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Oh, let me show over here. See? Like, it doesn't show, like, it doesn't give me an answer. I mean, it could be maybe a cleaning supply. I don't know what it meant. I don't know what it could stand for. Like, what is SW? I have no idea. I have no idea. So, I mean, I don't know, like, why do they have it in here? I don't understand what it is. No clue. No clue. Oh, thank you for the $4.99 Stoner Podcast Media. I appreciate that. Thank you. It'll go toward the For You Fund. We got lots of stuff that we're trying to get to. Oh my God. You know, and MPD is still the only one charging me for anything. ISP has given us stuff. They've never charged us a dime. When I got the Buddy the dog information from Latah County, they didn't charge me anything. When I got the traffic incident information, nothing. When Pullman gave us all that information, God, there's so much from Pullman we still haven't gone over. Oh my God. Like, they sent us files, okay? Nothing. Not a damn dime. California Highway Patrol for Kylie Rodney case, nothing. Moscow is the only freaking entity that has charged me. Like, the only thing I've ever like paid for with this stuff is like Pacer, like the court document websites. They like charge per document and stuff like that. But when it comes to actual FOIA directly to the agency, it's only been Moscow, bro. Freaking pirates. Okay. It says they recorded where and when he watched TV, the exact time he photographed a bulletin board at WSU, dates that he explored the Palouse and Wawaway County Park, the very moment AT&T activated the plan for his new cell phone. So they have proof in their timeline that he had already been out to Wawaway. So for him to say that that's where he was, he already has proof that he's gone out there several times on the timeline they created them themselves. But the timeline was not focused on the suspected killer. They documented other aspects of the crimes, like search warrant applications, lab submissions, surveillance activities, witness interviews, and selfie and social media posts of people who had nothing to do with the crimes, right alongside specific references to matters of intra-agency cooperation. So that's another thing I said. Like, we're in November 2023 when they put this timeline together, right? And they want us to believe that it's just Kohberger and Kohberger alone and that we shouldn't be asking questions about nobody else. Okay, so then why in November 2023, after you've already canceled out the preliminary, do we have information in here about Connor Chestnut and Jack Showalter? Do we have information in here about people that ain't got nothing to do with nothing? Why? I mean, make it make sense. You're wasting people's time. Your own time, investigatory time, and the people's time that have to go in and review all this information, just putting a bunch of air in it like a chip bag. Like, what's the point? Their timeline built a 2-year prologue to the murders, followed by hundreds of entries immediately surrounding the crimes, then hundreds more documenting the 14 months leading up to what was supposed to be the trial. It references family members, Greek affiliations, lovers and friends, persons of interest, relevant tips, and other consequential events. Work histories, text chains, biometric collection regimens, personal interactions between the victims, and a broad array of associates. It is varied as it is comprehensive. Then he says it was just as valuable to the defense. So, I mean, obviously the defense got this because it was something that the state was working off of, and it was created as I'm assuming this timeline itself is probably work product, honestly, because they're saying this was created for the use of the prosecutor's office. So maybe it's work product and we're not going to get it. I don't know. That was something I was thinking when I was trying to figure out how this was going to go. We'll see. But when it comes to how the defense used it, he says, we know that Becca Barlow felt confident, which that's the IGG lady that originally came in to testify. And then after everything was just like, not happening, she was like, no, this isn't happening. And she came in as a lawyer on the case, which says a lot. Again, we have like Cyray, Becca Barlow. There's a lot of people whose behaviors and the way that they handled the case and how they presented themselves in the case and the risks they're taking in doing those things in this case, those things are important. Those things need to not be overlooked. She felt confident that the DNA found on the knife sheath was shaky at best. It says the defense had lab reports that appeared to show the FBI committed significant violations of their own protocols in arriving at conclusion. We know this. Judge Hippler literally said in court that it was constitutionally unimportant, meaning it happened, but no one gives a shit. America. The sample taken from the sheath snap seems barely 20% of the CODIS minimum of YSTR submission, and FBI headquarters deliberately made the decision to access databases that had always been off limits to the police. It's insane that this can literally be a known thing. And we are still where we are today. That is crazy. Ann Taylor's team revealed at something that was not called a Franks hearing. I don't know why they're doing this. This was the argument for them to be able to have a Franks hearing. It was everything happening in order to end up maybe having one granted. We know that the actual Franks hearing itself was denied. The document is out there. Ann Taylor's team revealed that a private Texas laboratory, which is Othram, had been hired and then fired by police due to genetic analysis that did not match Thompson's narrative. Video surveillance of Kohberger's white Elantra was shaky at best. Defense experts were ready to testify that cell tower analysis was riddled with bad math and technology claims that would have been countered at trial. Thompson would have said that the evidence was overwhelming. I'm glad he puts in here that trial prep is at least partially theater with confidence just being part of the show. Ain't that the truth? Because that bullshit he laid out in front of Hitler at the plea change was what they were going to present as their opening statement. And in their opening statement, they admitted they can't place Bryan Kohberger in that area. They can't connect him to that house or anyone that lived in it. That was their opening statement. Yeah. So strong. Okay. Now I'm going to bring up my little thingy. Right? I mean, I think it's because he knows, or at least the way that it is like, I don't know the word for this. The way that it's advertised, I guess, on the back of it for who it's for. Targeted. The people that it's targeted to. It's more like people with like degrees in this that work for the field is how he's trying to put it. But come on. Like he knew damn well this thing did not need to be the price of a textbook. He knew that the majority of his sales were going to come from people like you and me. So we'll be going over it soon. Okay. Let me go ahead and get this back up here. Make sure this is big enough. Okay. So let me put a banner so people know what's what here. Yellow is official timestamp data. What colors did I use for this? Because my purple got crappy, and then I switched to green. The stuff in blue, like I only did a few of them as like my example that I was talking about earlier. There's no reason for them to say that at 3:25 there's a white sedan seen traveling westbound at 787 block of Indian Hills Drive per Vargas and Payne's supplemental reports. Why are you not citing this as 787 Indian Hills Drive? You've literally used addresses for your citations before. So right here too, 1125 Ridge Road. I don't like that. I have problems with that. I would not have accepted this if I was an attorney. No, you go back and you actually cite where the actual information came from, not who wrote about seeing it. I want to know where it actually came from. Dumb. I hate that. I just hate that. I would not have done it that way. That's just me though. Purple and green. I'm going to say unofficial. I'm going to say unofficial timeline data because it's word of mouth. It's not stuff that they have like a data match for. And it's stupid that it's like that. So that's how I'm putting it. Oh, that's spelled wrong. Hold on. If I could see. Okay. Okay, we're going to do it like that. We are gonna do it like that. No, actually, I bought some. I bought them over there. I had them delivered. After that, I was like, shit, I need some more highlighters. Yeah. Oh my God. It's yeah. Yeah, because there's a lot of like, it's from an interview. I don't care. I don't care about what somebody said in an interview. Like if it's just them, telling their side of things, that's one thing. Because that's what they're going to do on the stand. But when it comes to you're trying to give me a timeline of what happened, you should be giving me nothing but electronic data that can be backed with a receipt, not what somebody said. Look how many of their timelines are everywhere when we finally actually get camera footage with timestamps, cell phone data. When we finally actually get the actual data, look how off things have been. And it totally matters because some of these sections are like 30, 45 minutes. The time zone is wrong. Like it's been a problem. So it shouldn't be like this. It should not be like this. Okay. Can I get it like that? So you can see the full thing. Okay. I'll leave it like, I guess like this, because I want y'all to be able to see the full column. I'll probably have to change it up in a second. Okay, so we're going to start with information that we still have issues with. And I can't even like clarify to you what's actually true because we've gotten 20 different stories when it comes to Friday night, the formal, who all went, who was involved, how long they were there. Some of the shit doesn't make any sense. It's all over the place. All we know is that some shit happened. And they're using Dylan's interview for this instead of timestamps from the phone from them getting a ride or anything from the cameras, because Ann Taylor in some of this newly unsealed information is claiming that she knows that there's information from before 12:55 a.m. on the 13th on that camera, which there should be. You'd think that like it would have information from Saturday night, right? Like all the movement, all the everything should have been there. There's no reason for it not to have been. They literally had that damn card that first day, and if they lost it, anything, it's Mallory's fault. You guys know the story. You guys know. A week is a long time in this situation. The problem is that we never got to trial and we never got to see any conclusions for any of that stuff, or at least nothing that we've seen so far to say that she was given anything prior to that. So we have her saying possible while they're also withholding audio. That's also in this timeline. It's such a huge issue. Okay. So then instantly it goes from the Friday night and all the stuff that apparently happened Friday to Bethany waking up with only Ethan in the house and everyone else went to Taco Bell. And that's from an interview. That's not them saying, yeah, we checked their phones and here's a timestamp that they went to Taco Bell and, blah, 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 text messages or whatever. Things they could have cited that are right there in their faces because they have their phone reports. We see them referencing phone reports. They don't do that. And then again, Connor Chestnut wakes up in his fraternity room at 11 a.m. according to a report. Not anything factual, not anything analytical, nothing. A report. Hunter at 11:22 King for pre-gaming for football game. Mallory, number 42. That's the only information that Chris Whitcomb put in here when it came to the pregame party. We know there's probably going to be a lot more when it comes to the full thing. Now, this one's interesting, and I need them to explain to me how the hell they don't know where she went. What the frick you mean? Lyft does not give you a paper receipt. Lyft is an app. Lyft is an app that stores all your information, including how much you tipped and how long your travel was, and that you can, do a search warrant for to get that information. So what do you mean Maddie took a 20-minute ride to an unknown location, but used an official Lyft ride for it, and you don't know where it is? Tell me if that makes sense. Tell me if that makes any sense. That makes no sense. And that was at 12:21 on Saturday. Bullshit. Okay, so then they have that Dylan sends Maddie, Kaylee, and Josie an Instagram message, and that's per Dylan's analytical reports from her cell phone. Mortensen cell, page 3055 to 3056. That tells you right there how much phone data they actually have to reference. And they still do dumb shit about reports instead of analytics. It's crazy. Kaylee and roommates arrive at Kayla Wynn's apartment at 621 Taylor Street. Bucks for all of what I owe you. Rosinski supplemental report 19. That's how they summarized that. Let's go see what that actually means. Report 19. Let's see. Oh, that's report 90. I went too far. Hold on. Oh, come on. Okay, that's 14. $17, 18. Okay. So this is the one, and I think we've actually watched this girl's interview, I think. Let me make sure. I think we have reacted to this one in a live. Yeah. Back on November 29th, 2025, we did a reaction to her interview. And let's see what that's talking about when it comes to for the bucks I owe you. This is a long report. Okay, so it says, Kayla said the last time she spoke with Kaylee was at about 1700 hours on 11/13. Kaylee showed up with all of Kaylee's roommates at her apartment, the White, sometime between 1430 and 1500 hours. They left sometime between 1700 and 1800 hours. I told Kayla I was aware of a social media post of all the roommates pictured together. That was at her apartment. Okay. Was it something that she said in her interview, maybe? About bucks I owe you? Maybe I'm just not seeing it. Yeah, this is where we heard about the King girls. Just Coke, probably. Let your girls go get it. I don't see it. Lessons little. I mean, was it something that maybe she pulled up during her interview? Let me see if we talked about it on the thing. No. Transcripts. What does it say? Bucks for all of what I owe you. Bucks, neither one of those words pop up in the transcript. Oh. They showed up, she allowed the house. Yeah, it's not, I don't know. The transcript isn't finding a word for it. So I don't know what that is. Yeah, like it could be the Venmos, but like, see what I mean? Like there's nothing about it in the report, but it's being listed in here like it's something from the Rosinski report about Kayla's interview, and we don't see that in there. Oh, Jesus. All right. And then it says at 1400 hours, Bethany leaves with Maddie, Dylan, Xana, Ethan, Hunter, Johnson, Josie, Lyndon, Kai, Allie, Benson, Sky Spec to 621 Taylor. Yeah. That's when they get, but see, this is also so dumb because at the same time that it has them getting there between 1430 and 1500, it has them also getting there 30 minutes earlier at actually like 1400 hours. Now this one just says Kaylee and roommates arrive, and this one like lists out like pretty much like everyone's name, really kind of like but Kaylee's really. Yeah, it says it right here, Kaylee. Okay, so this makes sense right here. See, then this wording is still wrong. Okay, Kaylee and roommates arrive at Kayla's apartment. But then in this one, 30 minutes prior, it says Kaylee had previously left before them, talking about everyone else. So then how come it says Kaylee and roommates? If Kaylee went over there by herself, and why isn't this the other way around? Why isn't it Kaylee getting there at 1400 and then Bethany and everyone else getting there at 1430 after Kaylee, the way that they're wording all of this? Everything is so freaking backwards. Backwards, okay? Not only that, but notice how it's all he said, she said, dumb shit. Wynn says they left at 1700 to 1800 hours per Rosinski's report. Hunter says they left at 1430 per Mowry's report. Says is not a timeline. Says is not a timeline. Annoying. Annoying. Okay. Showalter and Chestnut party at the Whites per Showalter. Chestnut says this occurs from 1300 to 1400 per Chestnut. Well, that would make them getting there before Kaylee got there and before everyone else got there. And again, just supplemental report number 37. No data, no pings, no nothing, no conversations. Just they said it. Must be true. Okay. And then look right here again. Like, why do they have this in here twice, guys? Look at the list. Okay, well, this is probably Chris Whitcomb's fault. I'll blame him if I want to. It might not be. We might get the report and we might see that it literally is doubled for no reason. But this is literally the same. 1430 to 1500. Kaylee and all her roommates arrive at Kayla Wynn's house. Kaylee and roommates arrive at Kayla Wynn's apartment. Rosinski's report. Rosinski's report. It's the same thing. Oh, they're so dumb. Why are they dumb? I don't understand. Okay. I mean, it could be them or it could be Whitcomb. Like I said, we'll see. We'll see. So see right here, this one's yellow because it's coming from Dylan's phone report. Dylan sends Josie an Instagram message. That's official information. Totally official information. Let me move me to the middle so I can make this bigger. Oh, what about the actual middle? Ooh, is that weird? Can I actually put myself like right in the middle? Sort of. Ooh, I don't think I like that. That's creepy. I don't like that. But we're going to do it anyway. Because why not? I'll just be in the middle. Is that weird? Might be a little weird. I'll have to get it even. Okay. Okay. So then we have at 1548, Bethany and Xana leave the party at the Whites. Ethan had left before them. Everyone else was still there. Bethany and Xana go to Allie Benson's house on Taylor Avenue. Bethany's interview. Again, no analytics, no timestamps, no nothing from the phones. And why again? We have Showalter at 4:16. Showalter at his apartment to stretch his back and ibuprofen. Chestnut at the White still. Mention of going to get food. Now this one I made official information because it says that they're using text messages. Those have timestamps. I don't know why it's in here, but it's official information. Then we have, after they get to Allie's house, Bethany and Xana leave Allie Benson's and return to King Road. Bethany, Xana, Maddie, Kaylee, and Dylan then made food. I think they said something about making macaroni and cheese, something like that. Maybe not. Was it macaroni and cheese? I know the girls got like carbonara or whatever like on the way back, but I could have sworn they said something about making macaroni and cheese. So then the next one again is yellow because it's official information from the phone report. At 16:50, Maddie sends an Instagram message to Dylan, Kaylee, Xana, and Bethany. Then again, we have Chestnut in here. Chestnut passes out in his room, and Showalter returns home. Per Chestnut, this is inconsistent with the timestamp on Tallman's phone, indicating Showalter is requesting a ride from Adelt at 19:30. So then if you know, this is another thing that is in here a lot where there are like corrections like this, okay? If you know that that's not correct, why are you putting it in the timeline? If you know that the correct time for whoever is doing whatever is supposed to be 1930 instead of 1700, and that is a 2-hour timeline difference, why in the actual shit are you putting the incorrect information in the official timeline you're sending to the prosecutor's office? And it's somebody that you want us to believe is an irrelevant person. I hate everything that they did in this damn case. This is so stupid. This is so dumb. Then we have the Erica messages at 17:03. You're getting cheated on being sent to Ethan. And then 30 minutes later, Xana sends a text to Ethan saying she's going to take a nap until 8. I don't know why they don't have that from Xana's phone timeline, but it's still a phone timeline, so it's yellow. So then we have Dylan receiving a phone call from Bethany for 12 seconds. That's on her phone report. Then Dylan calls and has a, look at that, 3-minute and 51-second phone call. And it's for this person named Natalie Dayton. Official information. Don't know what she was calling her about. I don't think that name pops up literally anywhere else for the night, as far as I understand. So then we have Bethany, Maddie, Xana, Dylan all napped at King Road. Dylan says from 1700 to 2000 hours, which is like 8 o'clock. They said they were supposed to wake up. There's still information inconsistent here, really, when it comes to like what everybody was actually doing for real, because like it goes from Ethan left from the Whites to go somewhere else right here, and Xana sending him a message to the Explorer is now leaving King Road. So when did he get there? And again, this is not the official timeline, but I wish that when Whitcomb was putting his whatever he chose to do with this together, that he would have given context that actually went together. Why didn't you give us something about Ethan prior to that? I mean, there probably is information in there prior to that. I just wish that it wouldn't have been so everywhere. Now, these Ford Explorer logs, I'm going to try to FOIA those, and we'll see what they say. I haven't done it yet, but we'll see what they say. I just have a feeling they're not going to give it to us. Actually, I think somebody else said they requested them. And I want to, oh man, I don't want to say this wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway, because I think this is what I was told. Someone requested the Ford Explorer logs and were told that they didn't exist. Anyone else hear that or get that from someone else? I think that's what I was told about that, which is insane. So I'm going to do it myself and see what happens. But they have it just leaving King Row with no other context, you know, about literally anything else when it comes to him right here. So then we have a split one right here, as you can see, because half of it came from just Maisie's interview, and then the rest of it came from the Ford Explorer logs. And I don't know why, like, they did all of this like this. I mean, I guess to explain why the Explorer got to Kappa Alpha Theta House, but they could have just like waited until the car got to Hungadunga and then being like, they're there for a formal. Like, you didn't have, it's just unnecessary stuff, I guess, because all of this should be in a different situation. Anyway, formal event at Hungadunga. Ethan, Maisie, Hunter Chapin, Reagan Stansel, Darius Myers, Hannah Bine, Jack Katovich, and Riley Black attend together and rode in their car, which is all those people in the Explorer. Now, not 30 minutes later, okay, keep all of this shit in mind. Because what did we recently find out when it came to the formal? That if they actually did go, that they were apparently only there after all this big, huge hubbub about the whole damn thing for like 30 to 40 minutes before they left. So then they get together for this formal and they're there for 30 minutes before the logs apparently claim that it left. 30 minutes. Dylan calls Maddie, who doesn't answer. She responds with a message. Can I call you later? That's an automated message. Dylan says, yes, Jay called you to wake up and come down. This is probably supposed to be just called you to wake up and come down. So it looks like this was the 8 o'clock wake up call, I guess. And Maddie didn't answer and just had like a automated thing go back to her, I guess is what that's saying. Okay. See right here where it says they arrive at Hungadunga, like all of this unnecessary floof did not need to be there. It only needed to be here when they actually got to Hungadunga. But again, see how it's like per Maisie Chapin. There has to be like some way to prove when the car turned off. You know, the Explorer logs showing where the car, how far the car drove, and when the engine turned off should be what they're using for this 8:06 p.m. timestamp, not an interview. See what I mean? See what I mean? I know you guys get it. Ethan tells Xana he is going to her house to change. 1 minute later at 8:07 per his cell phone information. Kaylee sends Eric Gower a message and asks if he is working tonight. Gower interview with Blaker. Why not Kaylee's cell phone records? Why not Eric Gower's cell phone records? You have them. Why are we using an interview as your citation source? That's crazy. At 10:57, Kaylee posts pictures on Instagram and sends to Xana. You're not getting... Okay, I was about to say, you're not getting information about Kaylee posting something on Instagram from Xana's phone. So I'm going to assume Kaylee posted a picture to IG and then from IG sent it to Xana? Like shared it from Instagram to Xana is probably what that means, I guess. And then at the same time, Kaylee also sends Dylan an Instagram message, and they're getting that from Dylan's information. So I guess that's what she did. So then Dylan's instant reaction to this is, can you send me those photos, please? And then Maddie calls Xana per Xana's phone at 8:59. Now here we come into the 9 o'clock hour, and we have Bethany's interview as the source, talking about Maddie and Bethany leave King House to go to Peter's apartment at Sig Chi. Ethan and Xana came over after Bethany and Maddie. Kaylee was not going to the Sigma Chi party. Dylan walked to the party alone later. This is a summarization that went on for like a long time, and also had a lot of separate pieces here, because Maddie and Bethany walked over to the Sigma Chi party with a freshman that Ethan brought with him. And Ethan and Xana ended up going over at some point afterwards, but we never got a timestamp for when. We just know that they didn't all go over there together. As far as I'm understanding, this all didn't even happen. This time is not right here, because Ethan didn't even get back until when? They're saying at 9:27, Ethan gets back to King Road. So no, Maddie and Bethany did not walk over to the Sigma Chi party at 9 o'clock before Ethan would have even gotten back to the house. And considering that they know from Bethany's interview that she is claiming that Ethan came over there with a freshman and walked, and like the separate situation happened, wouldn't they know that this situation did not happen before what the Explorer logs are telling them happened with that car getting back to 1122 before they would have gone to Sigma Chi? You see what I mean? Why is this incorrect timeline information from some hearsay actually in this timeline? This whole section right here, it doesn't need to be there. It doesn't need to be there. It's pointless. It's not even the right time. So then at 9:02, Ethan, Maisie, Hunter Chapin, Reagan Stansel, Darius Myers, Hannah Bylan, Jack Katovich, and Riley Black leave Hungadunga, okay, at 9:02. They just told us, where was it? Oh, wait, no, I have this wrong. This is them getting ready. Scratch what I said here. I just realized I read that wrong. Okay. So then they were only there for how long? An hour? Okay. So they get to Hungadunga at 8:06. And they leave Hungadunga down here. See why this is important to pay attention to? I had it wrong right there. Okay. Down here. An hour. So they spent an hour there. But again, like, you're doing this off of an interview and not when the car started. Just like up here, you're doing this off the interview and not when the engine turned off. Why? You're giving minutes in your time stamps. So I'm assuming you're getting it like from the actual data. So why are you not using that data source as your source? Okay, so official information, and that's why it's purple. It's just to like make that clear. That's why I have this purple, because it is a timestamp, but it's coming from bullshit. It's not supposed, it shouldn't be coming from that. That's why it's purple. So then the Explorer logs then show that 4 minutes after they leave Hungadunga, they get back to his sister's sorority. It's crazy that they just like keep these people's full-on names like the entire time. Okay. So then Maddie leaves Sigma Chi party to meet Kaylee and go to the club. Not at 9:09, she didn't. This is 9 o'clock, right? 2100 in military time is 9 o'clock. No, she didn't. Not at 9 o'clock, she didn't. And see, again, it's coming from Bethany's interview. This is so incorrect, it's not even funny. How is she at Sigma Chi already, done what she was doing, and leaving to come back to go meet Kaylee to go to the club before she's even gotten there? Because at this point, Ethan's not even back at the damn house yet to bring the freshman that escorts Maddie and Bethany to the party. See, this shouldn't even be here. This is dumb. This shouldn't even be here. Official timeline. Dylan's cell phone. Dylan takes 12 photos. Dylan then calls Maddie for 14 seconds. These little bitty ass phone calls. Then the Explorer leaves Maisie's house according to the logs. See, this section right here should have technically been purple. But it also isn't really like a timestamp. Like, this is just saying she didn't want to go party. That's all it's saying, is she didn't want to go party. This right here is the only thing that matters because it's coming from the logs. So then at 21:24, it stops at Sigma Chi before then 1 minute later leaving Sigma Chi, before then 2 minutes later finally getting back to King Road. So again, knowing that Ethan is how the freshman got to King Road to escort the girls there, is everyone already at the party before Ethan's even left his party? And how is Maddie leaving at 9:09 when she's not even there yet? This is so crackhead. This is so ridiculous. How are they not reading this collectively as a group of what is supposed to be highly intelligent individuals and not seeing these mistakes? This is insane. Can you imagine if the jury would have been handed this as like a reference guide? This is horrible. It hurts my brain. That's why it hurts my brain. I don't understand. I don't understand. Okay. And then the stupidity, bro. The ass-kissing, brown-nose bullshit that happens everywhere in this case. Because the very first thing that Whitcomb said was how comprehensive and thorough this timeline was. Well, you know, I guess it would look that way to somebody who doesn't give two shits enough to know anything about what they're writing about, sir. Your entire book. How many pages is this? 431. You could have written 431 pages, sir, on just the mistakes and the bullshit in the official timeline that you actually have. And it would have done better and been more accurate than whatever the hell else you put in this crap. Let's be serious. You could have. I would have respected you more for it, that's for sure. Instead of calling this a comprehensive and thorough. What? And this is just a few pages, bro. This thing is 108 pages long in reality. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Oh my God. My God. Okay, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. It's too much. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm trying to be as even on the page itself as possible. Okay. Okay. Dylan then calls Xana at 9:31. I gotta like remember the time. I'm not good with military time at all. Oh my God. I hate it so much. That's per Xana's cell phone logs. This is the one I said I had a question for. And I highlighted it in yellow as official information because it's labeled as work product. I find this interesting, and I'll repeat again. There seems to be a group chat that is created with Dylan, Maddie, and Bethany. And then Ethan gets added by Bethany. But notice there's no Xana here. So this one's intriguing to me. So then at 9:26, it says that Ethan sends Hunter Johnson a snap message, drinking with Xana and Bethany, come hang out. And that's from Ethan's snap messages. Okay. So you're telling me that you have Ethan's snap messages from 9:26 p.m. the night before. But you can't give us Dylan's Snapchat information from after the murders took place, even before that. I mean, no, look, this is 10 o'clock in the morning. You can't give us information from 12 hours fresher from Dylan's phone, but you can give us Ethan's snap messages? How's that work? Explain that backwards ass bullshit. Please, I beg you. I beg you. So then it says that are we jumping a shit ton? Oh my God. Look how much he jumped. He's going from 9:26 p.m. down to 10:30 p.m. He jumps an entire hour. and what he's choosing to share. Josephine Torville sees Maddie and Kaylee at the corner club, and that's per supplement number 11. So then he jumps back up 30 minutes, or it jumps back up 30 minutes, shall I say, and goes to 10 o'clock when Maddie and Kaylee arrive at the corner club in a Prius. That's not actually the direct time. What was the direct time that they actually got there? Do they have the direct time in here from looking at the corner club stuff? I'm trying to see if they show it. No. No. See, this right here about when they got to the corner club should have been corner club camera surveillance, because they have it when they're leaving with Showalter in this timeline about them leaving and going across the parking lot. I think it's like at 137, 139, one of those two. So why don't they have the same thing here for the exact timestamp that they got to the club, and it say that the corner club cameras is the source? So then Bethany's interview at 10 o'clock again. So we're staying at 10 o'clock, apparently, staying backwards. Bethany's friend Yessie arrives at the Sigma Chi party and hangs out with her. What does this have to do with anything? Why is this part of your crime timeline? Bethany calls Claire with no answer. That came from Bethany's cell phone information. At 10:30, Chestnut wakes up and plays games in his room the rest of the night per Chestnut. What does it matter? Why do we need to know this? In the official timeline written in November 2023, handed over in November 2023. Why do we need to know that? So then they have right here at 10:30, which is a bit more accurate to when someone gets anywhere, because we know that she stayed behind to turn in homework. So they should have a timestamp for when the assignment was turned in. But again, we're going off interview information and nothing official. Dylan arrives at Sigma Chi, apartment 4. Ethan, Hunter, Xana, Yessie, Gideon were there. Dylan and Gideon were in and out of the lodge before going to Peter's apartment. So then we have Bethany and Yessie go to the main house for Sigma Chi fraternity. Again, what does this have to do with anything? Nothing about the people that died are in this. Yessie apparently doesn't have anything to do with anything. So why do we need to know that? Finally, he puts in something for Kohberger. 10:34 and 10:44, he's shopping. He goes to Walmart to buy these things, and then he goes to Safeway to buy other stuff. And then he jumps down like 45 minutes down to 11:14. Bethany sends Maddie a Snapchat, unknown content. Again, why do we have Ethan snaps, but we can't get their snaps? And it's a photo. If it's unknown contents, how do you know it's a photo? I guess because it has to be, right? Because it's Snapchat. It would have to be. So then at 11:21, Maddie and Cole Berenberg take a photo together at the corner club and sent a text to Leo Romero. This one should have been purple because it's coming from a damn report, but I'm going to assume that it's coming from Maddie's actually phone records, but it should have been purple. My bad. Mortensen's interview from 11:17 for what should be right after midnight. This whole 2404 thing throws me all the way off. Throws me hella off, because then they go into the doubles, and that's why it's really confusing about what time is actually what right here. Like for all of it, for this section, this entire page until we get to like 1 a.m. Because 1 a.m. is 1 a.m. is 1 a.m. But this should be this. It should be 0004. It should be 0021, 0040. So it's very confusing. I know it doesn't exist. I don't know why it's on here like this. It's Sherman Williams. See, that would make sense. That would make sense. That's what I kind of thought it was, because it definitely wasn't Swiss and Wesson or whatever, because that's not going to happen. I mean, it could be, but they're saying that multiple departments worked on it, so I don't know. Like, no one's double checking anything. Yeah. So, I mean, it probably is AI, but you'd think AI would be trained to know military time. That's why I feel like it was a human mistake, because show me one competent person. And I'm not trying to be a bitch. I'm not trying to be an asshole or anything else. All these people always freaking label me because of my harsh ass opinions. My harsh ass opinions are because of the stuff that we are witnessing. Find me one competent person. Find me one competent person in this police department that's touched any of these things. I haven't found one. Nunes has proven that he doesn't check his notes and that he is inefficient. Warner doesn't put information in the report about the knife that Hunter's talking about. There's information missing all over the place. Thompson's a liar. Dollinger still hasn't emailed me back because he's a freaking coward, doesn't know how to answer the freaking hard questions. The attorney doesn't know what the hell she's doing. The MPD chick is all over the place. Tim Smaldridge is all over the damn place. Find one competent person. I think maybe Blaker is probably like the best example of somebody who maybe kind of knows how to do their job. I honestly have not seen anything wrong that Blaker has done. All of my complaints have been with everyone but him. I'm just kind of like realizing that as I'm ranting about this. I think Blaker maybe is like the only one I can maybe give a pass. Honestly. And that's just because he's not taking responsibility for the knife sheath like Payne is. He's giving it to ISP. He's not trying to put a responsibility on it. He's doing it for like the forensic team. I don't know. I don't feel like there's any shady stuff in any of his reports. That could change, but I don't feel like there has been. Payne is a little weasel. Payne is a little freaking weasel. There's other officers that did their thing. They're not like main players here. So those aren't the people that I'm talking about. Like Jay Waters or like Aaron Morris, like the people that just like stood log, not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that touched things. Find me one competent one besides, let's say, Blaker. One out of how many hundreds of people touch this shit? And again, not just with MPD. We have mess ups with the police side and the forensic side of ISP. We have the feds on some bullshit. And how many other departments actually touch this thing? This can't be real. I'm about to be like, I'm really at a point. Like, is this going to be some big, huge documentary one day and we're all like going to be starring in it or what? And not about like the actual murders, like about, I don't know. Something's just, there's no way. There's no way that all of this is happening and this is a real situation. I think that's why I can't rest my brain. Everything. Not one thing, not just the DNA, not just this stupid report's messed up, or not just this, oh, I don't like this cop. Everything. Just everything. Gooch was good. Well, Gooch would have been a lot better if she would have pushed back on Dylan more. I feel like she babied the shit out of her simply because her attorney was present. I feel like Gooch could have done better. She was the most competent in way of like asking questions and sort of like pushing a little bit, but she would like just ask like one little pushback, one teeny tiny little pushback question, and then she'd move on. And look at the transcripts from the FBI stuff with Dylan. The chick said, yeah, okay, 25,000 times more than Dylan says, These are not very coherent interviews. And that's 3. That's MPD, that's ISP, and that's the FBI. All examples of how not to let someone get away with being a liar. Isn't that crazy? Right? Like, there's just no way. Like, maybe that's the reason, tinfoil hat, maybe that's the reason why Steve Goncalves keeps coming out here and putting, this isn't a movie, because it is a movie. God, this is so stupid. I hate this so much. I hate this damn train wreck. This is so stupid. Oh, thank you, Dawn. It's so stressful. God. And what I don't understand is the families. Like, how the frick do none of them see this and want to stand up and say something? F that stupid ass WSU lawsuit. I don't give two shits. If I'm not being told the truth, if shit's being hidden about my kid, F your lawsuit. Fight me, biatch. We're about to freaking rumble. What do you mean? There's so much here. How are none of them saying anything? And at this point, I do mean none of them, because I don't talk to Kara anymore. And as far as I'm understanding, she's not asking any more questions. So how are none of them not standing up and saying something? It's wild. Wild. Okay. So then it drops down to Ethan. And remember up here, where was it? At 9:26, Ethan sends Hunter Johnson a Snap message, drinking with Xana and Bethany, come hang with, through Snap. So then down here at 21 after midnight, so 12:21, and see, it's got to be AI, bro, because look, it still keeps the date. Instead of switching it to 11:13, it still kept the damn date. I mean, okay, so this is another reason why I really want to like make sure that we get this, because this is either actually their mistake or this is Chris Whitcomb. And if this is Chris Whitcomb's mistake and the official timeline doesn't have this issue, this is going to further prove that he used AI to write this book the way that most of us already think he did, because of how shit it is. So let's just keep that in mind for what we're looking for. I cannot wait. When I tell you I'm writing an email in triplicate form and submitting it to as many places as I possibly can when it comes to talking in some way, shape, or form to that freaking publisher, HarperCollins or whoever it was that published this bullshit, they're going to get an entire packet of what this mofo had wrong in this book and how disgusting it is for them to have all of these people and all of these power behind them, and they don't have the damn mental capacity to make sure that what they are printing with their name on it is coming from official information and is not false when it comes to true crime and real people. Everything could have been double checked by public record. None of them bothered. The publishing company, and he gives his wife credit at the end of the book for helping him edit and gather information. None of them got it right. Is it an AI wife? Is it a robot girlfriend? What is happening? All these people touch this shit, just like all these people touch this case. And look how convoluted and wrong it is. Too many chiefs. Too many chiefs. Okay, so then he gets a message from Hunter Johnson that says, hey, are you guys still hanging out at Sig Chi? And they're getting that now from his cell phone information. So it makes it look like Ethan sent a snap over to Hunter, but when Hunter responded, he responded via text message. So then at 12:41 a.m., this thing is so dumb. Maddie FaceTimes with Ruby Simpson for 40 seconds while at the corner bar with a friend named Aiden. And this is coming from, again, like a report, but it should be coming from Maddie's phone information. So again, this one should also be purple because that's not the way that you cite that. So then it says, Ethan text, yup, when responding to Hunter Johnson, and it comes from the phone line. So yeah, they are definitely in text message form now, and that's 3 minutes later. So then, see, and this is what I don't know. So is this technically 1:03 in the morning then? This is technically 1:03 on 11/13. So scratch me circling that. This is so dumb. Okay, I don't know when when does it correct? Because now I don't know what to do. But see, I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if that's accurate, because if this is supposed to technically be 1:03, then is this supposed to be 2? Because we know that this is the right timing for Jack leaving the corner club. So then what's the right time for all of this shit? Is it all 1 o'clock? I'm guessing. Yeah, I mean, this stuff in between doesn't really mean a lot. It's just really stupid. It's just really freaking stupid. Oh, this is so dumb. Okay, well, until we get somewhere else, I'm probably just not even going to freaking say the times, because this is so dumb. Okay. Bethany takes a photo, unknown location, at a party of a girl. Bethany's cell phone at 2:14. Why is this in here? Why is this in here? What do you mean unknown location? Okay, college people usually don't turn off their GPS location. Their location information is usually always on, especially in stuff like with Snapchat, looking at snap maps, all the other things, okay? If you don't know where she is, meaning you don't know which party she's at, and you don't know who the girl is, why the frick is this even on the timeline? Why is this even here? So then at whatever time this is, Dylan takes a bunch of pictures, or takes a picture, and it's image number 4971, whatever it is. This is where Xana calls Ethan and it's unanswered. Well, see, this right here would make me more believe that this is the actual midnight timeline, because of when we went back through the Linda Lane camera footage, there is that section where I really do think it's Ethan and Peter. The dude's head and his hair is just like Peter. The other guy is tall. He has hair like Ethan. He had a little mustache on his face. It very well could be them. I honestly believe it is them. And if you go back in the conversation that Brat had with Steve Goncalves, that makes that conversation, especially with what the Chapins might have known ahead of time, even freaking shadier. Even freaking shadier. And I now give a lot of weight to that because of this section of this timeline. Because this is where we realize Ethan and Xana are not together. They are now separate. And now we have calls coming in that Ethan is not answering. And we have Xana sending messages to Pete, because obviously that means she's not in the same area as Pete. And one would just, I'm going to pull a Chris Holland, logically think, if Pete is not there and she's trying to get a hold of him, and Ethan is not there and she's trying to get a hold of him, logic would tell you that they're probably together, considering they're besties. You know? So I'm going to assume that this is the midnight hour and try to get past my hatred for this timeline right now. So stupid. Okay, Bethany sees Ethan and Xana in Peter's apartment before leaving, which also shouldn't even be right here, right after missed calls 1 minute later, because that doesn't even make logical sense. And again, this is also you're doing this from an interview. So why do we even have a minute like this if you're getting it from an interview and not from phone records? So then it says Bethany and Yessie walked to Allie's house on Taylor, where Allie, Jenna, Hayden, Kennedy, and Yessie were the only people at the house. Yeah, because remember, Dylan and Gideon go together later. Good old Gideon. I think we're going to be talking about him soon. Text from Xana to Pistol Pete, you good? From Xana's cell phone records. So this one right here technically should have been timestamps for the receipt that they have. Not from a report. It should have just been from the receipts. Kaylee pays the bar tab at the corner club with her credit card. She paid for 9 well vodka and 2 add juice. That should have been from the receipts. So then Bethany calls Jenna McClure on FaceTime in 22 seconds again. These little bitty ass calls. Little bitty ass calls. At 31 after, a white-colored sedan going eastbound on Louder passes Ridge Road at 11:25 Ridge Road video. See how it's actually referencing the video? Now, another thing I don't really quite understand with this is why they're referencing the vehicle or let's just say a vehicle, because that's what it is. It's a vehicle. It's just one of many vehicles. At, let's just say 12:31 in the morning, when they're telling us that Kohberger was at his house until 2-something. Closer to 3. So why are you showing us this? Are you wanting us to believe that he, went back and forth between Pullman and Moscow 1,500 freaking times, and y'all dumb shit still don't have him on camera going back and forth? Because why are you trying to tell us that the car that you think is SV1, because that's what the insinuation is with this being on this timeline. Why are you showing us this? Why is this on here? That doesn't go with anything that you've told us. Why is this on here? Why? So then at 12:43, we have another message to Ethan about being cheated on. And again, we have here at 12:56, the white light-colored sedan westbound on Louder passing Ridge. Why do we need this? If you in your storyline state, cops, he's at his apartment until X amount of time, whatever time you're telling us that he left, whatever it was, the 240-ish, 250-ish, whatever it was. Why are you telling us this right here? Why is this in the timeline? Just like, why do we need to know what time Chestnut went to bed? Why is this in here? Cole Barenberg walks home from the corner club. Sure, that was his story. What does it matter? Why is it in here? That's dumb. And this is where I changed colors. Dylan's interview. Dylan calls a Sobro for a ride for her and Lake because Lake is very intoxicated. No. Literally no. Hayden got them a ride. Lakeland was talking to Hayden, and Dylan made it very clear that Hayden is the one who got them the Sobro ride back. And because Hayden knew him, Dylan said she trusted him. Remember that? So that's not true. That's not true at all. And I think Amber Vance mentioned something in her last video about Dylan when it came to the Friday night situation, about how when it was time for her and Kaylee to leave, Maddie is the one who got them the ride back. Instead of Kaylee or Dylan being the one to get the ride, since they're the ones who wanted to leave, Dylan had Maddie get them a ride back on Friday. So then you compare it to this situation where she's like, oh my God, I'm so concerned for Lakeland because she was so drunk and blah, 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 whatever. I didn't want her to be by herself and blah, blah, blah. But then she skirts it and puts the responsibility of the ride on another human to get them that ride instead of her just doing it herself. And then you also take it to the 911 call and how she called people over to the house to find the scene so that this could be just one other thing that she doesn't take responsibility for. This is like this is a pattern. This is a pattern. This is a pattern. And then it talks about them watching Vampire Diaries. Well, I mean, couldn't you have like figured out the timestamps for all of that stuff? I don't know why we're getting it from this when you have data. This is also not accurate, apparently, either. Because we have, and I'll just never forget it, the 12:43 a.m. photo that Lakeland apparently took on the second floor bathroom of Ethan's clothes on the floor, like a creepo. So in realizing that, we realized that they got to the house a good 30 minutes before that, we were told that they originally did. So then we have Bethany walking home from Allie's house on Taylor Avenue. Then it says, time confirmed by Jenna McClure. How was that time confirmed by Jenna? I guess in an interview? But unless you have a timestamp on something digital, how are you verifying that just because another person said so? Okay. So then we have, back at the Corner Club, see how they actually are referencing the video. We have Kaylee starts talking to Showalter. 14 minutes later on the video, Maddie joins the conversation, which is interesting because you would think that having a 14-minute conversation with somebody without Maddie would be something that kind of stuck out a lot more, considering that Jack tried to act as if he didn't know who Kaylee was, even though they were all just together earlier at the White's party, which we didn't know until we got reports. They hid that from us for how long? We did not know shit about any previous anything when it came to Jack Showalter. But then finding out that him and Connor Chestnut were literally at the White's party while they were all there, why hide all of that? That proves he's not just some random ass little weirdo that didn't know them and it was like, oh my God, like everybody acted. He was at the damn party with everyone else. Doesn't that kind of take away all of that scary hoodie guy shit at that point? But then what I don't understand is why he's sitting there acting like he didn't really know who Kaylee was, when again, he was at the party with her and Maddie earlier in the day. And then what we're seeing here in the timeline is an almost 15-minute conversation between just the two of them before the person he claims he actually knows joins it. You know? Interesting. Very interesting. So then we have at 1:16, Xana calls Ethan and it's not getting answered per her cell phone records. And this is why this portion of this is so important. Because we have this at 1:16. Okay. What page was this? 2954. It's the same thing, yo. Look at this. So Ethan's cell phone, they have it listed as 0016, which would be 12:16 in the morning. But down here, when they take it from Xana's, it's 1:16 in the morning, and it's the same missed phone call. It's the same missed phone call. Look at that shit. And they have it in here twice as two separate events. And it's the same event. It's not different times. You're not understanding what I'm telling you. Pay attention. Pay attention. The timeline is wrong. 24, all these things that they have listed in here for timing, the shit doesn't exist. Okay? The timing is a problem. From Ethan's phone, they're labeling it as 0016. This is not 0016 because this is actually 12:21 in the morning. So this would actually be 1:16 in the morning. So when the timeline starts to correct itself, they have the exact same 1:16 in the morning phone call listed here, but this time from Xana's record. Do you understand now? They have it listed in here from two different sources. It's the same call. This is how disorganized they are. This is pathetic. This is so pathetic. Oh my God. Because see, they have this missed call way up here before any of the other stuff about Kaylee and them at the club is talked about. So then is this message really at 1:20 in the morning, since now right here, this is referencing Xana's cell phone, the same way that this is referencing this here. And that changes a lot. That goes from a missed call at 1:16 in the morning and then a message 4 minutes later to a friend and trying to figure out what could be possibly happening here, to a missed call at 1:16 in the morning, but a message to her buddy again. Well, I guess it's actually the same damn thing. It doesn't change anything. My bad. It doesn't change shit. Because we would still have, since it's coming from Xana's cell phone, or maybe no, it would. I'm losing my ever-loving mind. This case makes you feel crazy. This case will scramble your brain and then make you feel like it was pre-scrambled before you started looking at this case. No, this is still correct. Because this incorrect time is coming from Ethan's phone. So considering these are both, this thing is a damn wreck. Considering, I'm going to refresh this. Hold on. Let me clean this shit up for a second. I'm going to refresh this page. Okay. Better. All right. So, my God. Let's just use a different highlight color. This one right here is not highlighting. I don't like the highlight. Let's do drawing. Okay. My God. Okay. This one right here is Ethan's cell phone, but it's referencing a call that Xana made. This is not the right time. Right here at 1:16 is when she actually has a missed call to Ethan per her records. So considering this text message to Pete is also per her records, this timestamp is probably accurate to be 12:20 a.m. With this over here being 1:16 a.m. Which changes stuff, because if she's just texting Pete at 12:20, but then doesn't have a missed, doesn't try to call Ethan and have a missed call situation until an hour later, you can't really put those two scenarios together. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really put these two together in a scenario the way that I have been when the times are corrected. It changes stuff. This is so dumb. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. Now, this right here is also wrong and should not be in here. About Lakeland leaving at 1:22 per Bethany's interview. It's wrong and it shouldn't be in here. The Snapchat that we have that she took of Dylan that just says no at the bottom is 1:33, which is before that. So that shouldn't even be in here. It's hearsay from an interview. And it's wrong. It shouldn't be in there. So then at 1:22, Kaylee sends a picture of her and Maddie at the corner club and says, Maddie just called me a bucktooth bee to Dylan, Bethany, Xana, and Ethan from a Snapchat message. So then at 1:37, Showalter, Kaylee, Maddie leave the corner club, cross the parking lot in the westerly direction, and see how it actually references the video. They should have been referencing the video when it came to them getting dropped off and the exact timestamp. Not Eric's freaking interview. What the frick? 138, picture taken from Xana's phone, but doesn't say what it is. I don't understand what's the point of having the fact that she took a random picture at 1:38 in the morning. What does that have to do with the crime line? You're not referencing even what it is for. What's the point of it being in here? Kaylee purchases Mac of the week from Wondering Kitchen from the grub truck. Showalter is with them as seen in the video. And this is the receipt time, I guess. This is 1:42. This part right here, we know he's in the video, so it can just be left alone as it is. But this is accurate for it being official information because it's supposed to be coming from a receipt. Then it says, Kaylee texts Gower and asks if he can pick her and some friends up from Grub Truck. See, this is the wording I would like to have. This is the wording I would really like to have because we know that just her and Maddie got in the car. It would really change. It would really change a lot if her original intention was for Jack to also go with them. And she actually asked if he could come and pick her and some friends up. Because that would be more than just one friend. You know what I mean? That would be more than just one friend. That would mean that it would have been Jack too. So we need this message. We need this message thread. They need to release that one next. Because that definitely would change some things. So then at 1:49, Peyton Rossi goes to the Corner Club to pick up Jack Granger, Jack Ducour, and Nathan Rios and drop them off at their apartment off King Road. Peyton went home after dropping them off. This is ridiculous. This should only say 1:49, Peyton Rossi goes to Corner Club to pick up all these people. None of this should be here. And this should be Corner Club camera. Because we know what? We know what? That car pulls in as Eric Gower is apparently leaving. That Jack Ducour got home within 1 minute of the girls getting home, according to what we are supposed to be looking at on the camera. This getting dropped off and blah, blah, blah should not be happening until 1:57. That's lazy. 1:49, Eric Gower arrives at Grub Truck to pick up Kaylee and Maddie. They were dropped off at 1122 King Road after the 3 to 4 minute drive. Do they not reference 1:56? Nope. They put the girls coming home right at 2 o'clock per an interview. They won't even, well, again, this isn't the full thing. Maybe the 1:56 timestamp from 11:12 is in here when we get the official report. But Chris Whitcomb chose not to. This is also stupid as shit, okay? They have a 1:49 that Peyton Rossi goes to Corner Club to pick up Jack, blah, 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 blah. And remember how I said it shouldn't say this. It should say Corner Club camera. And the reason why it matters is because it's off by 2 minutes. And people say 2 minutes don't matter. It matters in a capital murder case. The Corner Club camera shows Jack leaving at 1:49. So maybe Peyton left to go there at 1:49, but for them to be being picked up, leaving, that should be one time, and it should be one entry, not two, not from an interview and then a camera. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It should be one time. At 1:54, Bethany calls Maddie with no answer, and that is Bethany phone timeline, page 54. Bethany sends photo with message, get me some Mac to Xana, Ethan, Dylan, Kaylee, and Maddie. And they're not getting that information from Bethany's information. They chose to pull that from Ethan's snap messages. I'm not really quite understanding really why. The only thing I can assume right here, though, and we do see Kaylee on the phone a lot, like while they're waiting for food. I'm going to assume that she maybe like sent a picture or maybe told them where they were or something like that. And Bethany was trying to call and try to get food before they left. Like they definitely knew, you know, the girls were getting food. So then we drop down to 2 o'clock and it says Kaylee and Maddie arrive home. Girls all go upstairs while Kaylee is getting ready for bed. That's like, do we know that? I mean, I know that like her sweater was off or whatever, but like, everybody was in the room. Like in her room. They were all just kind of like hanging out. I don't know when the getting ready for bed happened, especially considering the 17-minute phone call and all the back-to-back phone calls, and then Murphy running out and her going missing, and them trying to call for him, and all the things that we actually do here on the cameras. Anyway, taking selfie videos. This they would have a timestamp for. Maddie and Bethany take Murphy outside. Bethany comes back in after a few minutes, grabs chips, and goes down to bed. All in the 2 o'clock time frame. Bethany interview. And notice down here, 2:02 timestamp for Bethany takes several pictures with Murphy in Kaylee's bed from the cell phone information. So this shouldn't even be in here. If it's official minutes, it should be down here. Now, I'll tell you, when it comes to this person, whatever this is, I'm going to assume it has to do with the you're getting cheated on messages, because it's the only other thing labeled work product besides the messages from Erica. Now, if you look up Cooper Atkinson, Idaho, type it in just like that on Facebook. I didn't instantly find his profile. I found a happy birthday from a family member that tagged him. When you click on that profile, it's him. You know how I know? He's friends with Hunter Chapin. I don't know if this is the person that the Erica person might have been knowing there was a situation with or not. I don't know how close they were, but to call Ethan 5 times back to back on FaceTime at 2 o'clock in the morning after getting messages about you're getting cheated on, you have to question if there was something there. I don't know. But all of that little work producty things are weird. And again, this is just what Chris Whitcomb chose to show us. When we get the full timeline, there might be shit tons of stuff that say work product. There might be so much. We don't know. Hopefully we get to figure it out. Dylan sends message to Eric Uber is how she has him in the phone. Are you driving tonight by chance? Mortensen tells Gooch this is at 3:10 in the 11:17 interview. Why is that information needed right here? You see what I mean? We know that there's a timeline issue because by the time she's being spoken to, she's back in Boise. Why are you putting in your official courtroom getting ready for trial timeline that there was a 3:10 issue without making sure that you notate the reason was because she was in a different time zone? Not because of deception, for once, but because she was in a different time zone. This section makes no sense for this even being in here. What's it there for? Same thing here. We know the times. The only thing that matters is this when it comes to having an actual timeline. All of this, oh, she read it wrong, he said whatever bullshit, should not be in here. Should not be in here. 2:15, DoorDash Jack in the Box ordered by Xana, and they're getting that from her cell phone records. That whole situation is a rant I went on last time. I think we were live. I'm not going to do it again today. 2:16, white/light colored sedan turning left from westbound Louder onto Ridge Road. Again, referencing the Ridge Road cameras. Again, half an hour before they want us to believe Kohberger left his apartment. So why are you showing us this? Why is this in your timeline? That makes no sense. This right here, as you guys know, is what severely pisses me off. This more than severely pisses me off. We're going to look at something here. I am going to go to the cameras. Because for real, I think their time is off by an hour. I don't think they actually hear anything at 2:16 and 2:17. I think it's in the 3 o'clock hour. Because we do hear stuff that sounds like something happening. And at some point, we do hear what sounds like the girls saying, Murphy, like they had just been found, like they just found him, right? So I don't think that it's this. I think it's 3:16, 3:17, but I'm going to check. I could be wrong, but we're going to go check. Let's see which time, where is it at? They didn't get it to us till later, so where is it? Let's see. So I'll pull this one just to show you guys there's no sound there. And then I will pull 2 to 3. Yeah, this would be it. Okay, so we know that this one goes, this one's silent. There was no sound in this one. And again, the emails that I have with MPD show that there's no redacted audio. There's just legitimately no audio here. That's what she tells me in the email. We don't believe that. We don't believe that. Even if I am right on this, I still don't believe that. But that's what they're telling us. So 2:16, 2:17. Okay. Silence. And I'll let it go for like 2 minutes in case like anything shows up, but I don't remember if there's any movement right here off the top of my head. Oh shit, hold on. Okay. So 2:16, 2:17, this is the raw files. This is the raw file for the, which one is this? Yeah, okay. So this is the raw file that we had from 12:55 to 2:25 a.m. Now, remember, they're trying to tell us that there's like no sound here. How far does this go? Does it go all the way to, what time does it stop? Hold on. I can't remember. 2:30. Okay. I need to change the timing on that. Remember, they're trying to tell us that there's no time here, but we have 5 minutes of this sound. This is also where the 2:27 scream is on the very first drop of audio that we got, the very first video that we got, because that one went from 2:25 forward. This one stops at 2:30 and there's no sound. And they want us to believe that there's legitimately no audio, that it's not a redaction, that there's literally just no audio. But we have 5 minutes of audio, and what they're trying to tell us, there's no audio. Dumb shits. I don't think they know that I don't think they meant to send us that 5 minute time frame if they're really trying to cover up something here. Because why would you lie? Obviously, we can tell that you're lying. Okay, what was this again? 2:16, 2:17. All right, I'm gonna let this play. I don't think anything on the screen happens here. Oh, that was a bug. There's like something happening over here. I can't tell if it's like lights reflecting off of something or if it's just like they got some extra bright shit happening in there. But something is going on over here. Like up and down. Something right here, like a light. Okay, see, and that's it. All right. So then let's go over here to the 225 to the 225 to 335. See, it starts off at 225. The scream is at 227. We're not here for the scream. I want to go to 316 and see if that's where we started hearing them call for Murphy. I started a few minutes ahead. I'm right. The time has it off by an hour. We'll see if we hear barking. See why that original section of time that's all jacked up? Music. Okay. Okay, maybe not then. I don't hear anything. I mean, we hear the music, but I don't hear them calling for him or anything like that. I just can't remember. I know we talked about it now live. We'll play the full 17-minute. Lots of music. You can definitely hear talking. I don't hear barking. Yeah, there's nothing in here that sounds like it's dog related. Okay, thank you for the 2 witchy was at 238 Murphy. Okay, yeah, I know that see, let's see. Where is it that the car comes in? Is this it right here? No, that's not it. Because remember, a car comes in. Oh, this isn't it either. Yeah. A car comes in and drives down to Jack's house. We did this whole thing in a live. I just can't remember the timestamp. I'll check the 238 thing in here in just a second. I'm just trying to see if this is where. Okay, yeah, that's okay. The car is about to come in. Is this the right car though? Yeah. Okay, this is the car that comes in. You hear, to me, it sounds like it's either something about Boy or Murphy. Definitely sounds like a dog is being called. And then some portion after this is where we hear them like actually call out Murphy's name. I'm going to check the 238 in a second. Yeah, that's what I think it was. Come here, doggy. Sounds like, come here, doggy. Let's see if it'll pick it up on caption. Oh, there's no caption? What the frick? Why is there no caption? It sounds like, come here, doggy. And then the car leaves. Look, you can see walking around in the lights. Oh, no, that was just him turning around. Or is he backing up? No, that was walking around. That was the person walking around the back of the car in order to get to the driver's side. Is what it seemed like. It definitely sounds like, come here, doggy. Yeah, so I'm going to look at the lights again because I don't remember seeing anything behind it. It's almost like the person got out of the driver's side, walked around the front of the car, so we don't see anything happening with the lights. Did something to let the dog in, maybe with another door. I don't know. Maybe just walked around, but then walked behind the back of the car to get back into the driver's side is what it sort of looks like. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not Dylan, it's Bethany that claims it. Mm-hmm. Car door shut. Lights on now. Maybe it's just him. No, that definitely looked like a person just walking there. It could have just been him backing up, though. No, I don't remember. I don't remember what the timestamp is where we hear the girls. It would have been in my video that I did before, but I don't remember even what the title would have been. Let me see if I can figure that out. It would have been a live. Was it about Murphy? Where was Murphy? That's not it. I'll go back and play that one more time, but that's not it. When you hear the girls, or what I assume is the girls, you can hear a very high-pitched Murphy. I didn't hear it there. No, that's not it. No, I know when they say the Murphy thing. That's not it. That's not it. Let me see. I have I don't want to let this play, but I have a different video that we did talking about this, and I can get it out of there. Let me see. Let me pull the transcript from this one from a while back and see. I think it's in the 30s. Okay. Yeah, see, this is just noise. So, okay. So in my live, at timestamp on the video of 2:36, I say in the live that we're still 20 minutes away from when we hear that. So let me see. I think it's closer to like the end of the. Let's see. Hold on, let me see. I just want to make sure it's here. Minutes and minutes and minutes. Yeah, hold on. Okay, yeah, let me go to 2:52. Because we went over Murphy's entire timeline the other day. I think it's at like 40 something seconds. Lots of talking. All those lights. It should happen here in a second. Where the hell is it? It should have played by now. Did I skip something? Hold on, where are we at right here? Hold on. We're going to stop sharing this one and go back to this one right here.
Right after. That is what that sounded.
No, I just did that because I don't know if that's like in like 2-ish minutes. Bethany is supposed to get a call from. No, I just
That is what that sounded like, isn't it? I pulled out the. That is what that sounded like, isn't it? I pulled out those. No,
because you're gonna see. Okay, where the frick was it? See, you're gonna hear them say Murphy's name. You should hear them yell Murphy. Okay. It's closer. Okay, yeah, I'm not crazy. It's closer to over here. Heard it? Murphy! You heard it right there? 2:57:27. Listen to it. See? So here's that video. If you guys, it's alive. It's Murphy's entire timeline in case you missed it. I should have just gone through that to look at that stuff. But we went through everything. When it comes to that car, all the things. So that's why I wanted to check and see, did we happen to have this sounds that this is claiming right here on like an hour different, because we don't have audio. You know, we don't have audio. And like, I'll show you, for those of you who don't know, see how this one with sound starts at 2:25. Okay. This is the section of sound where the scream is. But if you go to this footage that they gave us, notice at 2:25, we have no sound. That's what they want us to believe. They want us to believe that there is no sound, and it's not a redaction, and it's not a mistake. But look at that. And then over here, what do we have? The same timestamp, we have sound. See how they're so full of shit? So full of shit. So yeah, I was wrong. It's not at the 3 o'clock time. Like, it's not off by an hour like I thought it could have been, because of what we know. Because by 2:59 or 2:57, they have Murphy again. So for anything to be at 3:16 in way of them calling for him wouldn't work. So yeah. They still need to answer for the fact they're trying to tell us that there's footage here with sound. Okay. Now again, practically 30 minutes before they want us to believe that Kohberger leaves his apartment, they have the Ridge Road camera with a car, again, a light-colored sedan. I don't know what their purpose was for this, especially like considering now we know that they had to remove what they did have of a white car coming in from Pullman because it had fog lights, and Kohberger's car doesn't have freaking fog lights. So they got proven to be wrong. Plus, there was that whole like 7-minute thing. There was multiple reasons. But then they're also throwing all of this in here for before he apparently even left his house. Like, this is so weird. Weird. 2:26, the 17-minute phone call. You know, they're still trying to pretend like this isn't real over on TikTok. They are still trying to pretend this was a 17-second call. Can you believe that? Even with how Jack behaved and everything. Talk about freaking Delulu Kool-Aid. That's crazy as hell. So then at 2:43, after the 17 minutes, Kaylee starts calling Jack. And notice it's coming from Jack's cell data. This isn't coming from Kaylee's phone. This is coming from Jack's. The 17-minute phone call is coming from Jack's data. Missed call, missed call. Maddie starts chiming in here. 2:52. White vehicle. See right here, they didn't even get to keep this in here. They didn't even get to keep any of this in here. For a white vehicle traveling southeast. See, and that's another thing. This is the vehicle they want you to believe is Bryan's car. But yet they're telling you about another white sedan that was traveling all over Moscow before this white car apparently leaves Pullman. They have him shopping in Pullman, but then they have a little white car driving all over town in Moscow. And they want us to believe that it's all Kohberger. That shit don't make no damn sense. More missed calls, more missed calls. Maddie calls Bethany and it's not answered. This is also when we know that Bethany gets a visit from Maddie about Murphy being missing. But we also know now from watching that at 2:57, Murphy is found. Murphy is found. And then this just says, and it jumps. Notice it goes backwards. We're going from 2:53 of Maddie calling Bethany, jumping back up to 2:30 to show that Bethany was on her phone. Where's 2:30 even at? Like, this information should have been here if it mattered. You know what I mean? That's kind of stupid. That's kind of stupid. So then we have the white sedan traveling westbound in the Indian Hills block. This is what I showed you guys earlier as my like example, because this should have been stuff from the Indian Hills cameras. This shouldn't have had anything to do with anybody's report. Same thing with this one down here. So then we have the white light colored sedan on Ridge Road again. Dylan creates contact for Brittany Fernandez. So it's in the text bubble document as Fernandez and apparently in here too as Fernandez. Then we have what Emily Alot is lying about for some reason, bro. I don't know why she's lying, but she is. She has been asked on TikTok in comments why she sent Xana $14 via Venmo that night, and she laughs, laughing emojis, and says, "'Cause I didn't." But ma'am, you did. Your Banner Bank card, we're assuming because of the location and the abbreviations and everything else here, shows a $14 Venmo transaction at the exact same time that this person is being added to Dylan's phone somehow, and the DoorDash driver and all her shady ass bullshit is walking around the neighborhood. So I actually believe that this is a payment for something that they probably shouldn't have been handling. And Emily was over at that house that night. I think that that's probably the truth. Yeah, it's her TikTok account. I have the screenshot on my phone somewhere. Yeah. She's like, oh, because I didn't. But you did. We have it in the police records, ma'am. We have it in the police records, ma'am. Xana text message to DoorDash driver, are you having trouble finding it? That is an automated message if there ever was one. Let's be serious. So in 356, 359, we have vehicle seen on video from 1112 King Road recording. All it says, is vehicle seen on video. No description, no nothing. Vehicle seen on video. 3:59, DoorDash delivery by McMichael. Okay. Xana's cell report. Okay. From 4 to 4:20, Dylan hears Kaylee singing and music playing and walking on the stairs. She hears Kaylee say someone is here, sounding frantic. Mortensen interview. Sure. 4:01, light-colored sedan turns right onto Ridge Road from eastbound, louder. So they're wanting us to believe that the car went all over the place like that, which is crazy to me, but okay. Crazy ass people. 4:04, this is what we know that they want us to believe is SV1. White vehicle seen traveling eastbound King Road, stopping, turning around in front of 500 Queen 52, then driving back westbound on King, attempts to park or turn around in the road, continues to intersection of Queen and King, where it completes a 3-point turn, driving eastbound on Queen Road. And I've said this before, this should not be his supplement. It should be everything to do with the actual 1112 camera. Payne's name in his report should not be the reference. Should not be the reference. Now, I've said this before, and I'll just say it again and throw it out there because I think it's a huge possibility, especially since this is a vehicle that seems to be very common in that area. It looks just like the damn police vehicle. You don't really know what color that car is, or really honestly what it truly is, because that camera is disgustingly bad, and they're all dumb. Let's be serious. The original list of vehicles they sent out did not even include a Hyundai. Then the years were wrong for what they apparently wanted us to look for. Again, according to what they wanted us to look for. But none of that actually mattered until after they had Bryan Kohberger's information, right? What I think a big possibility is here when it comes to this car is that it's somebody who maybe actually lives in that apartment area somewhere, and they went to leave and forgot something, and then had to hurry up and go back. And maybe they were running late for whatever they had to get to, which is why they hightailed it the frick up out of there, trying to get back to where they were going. That's a possibility. But I also don't like the timing. And I say I don't like the timing because right when Bethany is calling Dylan, right after that call ends is when that car takes off. Not while Dylan is calling out people's names and screaming out for Kaylee and screaming out for Xana. Because remember, she needed Xana to wake up. So the Xana would be aware of what was happening. She needed her to get up. She was calling both their names out loud. It's not until after Bethany calls Dylan that car takes off like a bat out of hell. And, I really just wonder if it's on cue for something, because Dylan is lying and telling everybody and their mama that she's the one who called Bethany when she saw the person, and that's not true. She didn't call anyone. She didn't call Bethany to tell her what was happening. She didn't. Bethany called her after she heard and what she thinks to be some sort of firecracker sound thing. She contacted Dylan. And Dylan goes down to Bethany's room, and somehow they just don't call the cops. All this stuff's going on. Dylan's freaking out, and no cops get called. I just find the timing interesting. And just because there's nothing in phone records that maybe the cops could have seen in reference to anything really, that doesn't mean there wasn't some sort of signal sent somehow. Oh shit, someone's up. Shit, she's up. Because we don't really know what the hell's going on. We don't. Lots of possibilities. Definitely we know that Dylan's lying about a lot of things. But the timing for that, and then knowing after finally getting the records that Dylan had been lying this entire time, because we didn't know that at first. It took us actually getting all of the 911 call information, hearing what she actually had to say about, oh, I called Bethany, and then getting the phone records and realizing you literally lied from the second you opened your mouth. Because she can't sit there and be like, yeah, I didn't call her, I didn't try to warn her, nothing like that. Because that's another thing, okay? You take the concept of she's trying to make you believe that she was so freaked out. Oh my God. but doesn't check on Xana. Hears crying. A strange man's voice, all coming from that direction. Doesn't check on Xana on her way to Bethany's. You know what else she didn't do? She didn't call Bethany to warn her that there was some strange ass man in the house and that Kaylee was being chased and that shit was going down. She didn't even think about it. On purpose? Because she's just telling a story? And it makes her sound horrible? On purpose. Dylan makes no sense. And you're sitting there trying to tell me that you were calling out Xana and Kaylee's names, but Bethany didn't hear you yelling? I'm supposed to believe that? That you were opening and closing the door feet away from where this table was that Bethany claims to have been able to have like heard the cups falling, but she didn't hear you yelling Xana and Kaylee's names? I don't believe it. There's no proof that she was yelling out their names. There's no proof to a frickin' thing that Dylan claims from that night. The only proof we had something happen is 4 dead bodies the next day. That's all we got. So did she call their names? I honestly doubt it. I think she's lying. I think personally, in my opinion, there's more involvement there for some reason. Either involvement or something. I mean, I don't know what else to say besides involvement, because like what else would it be? You don't lie this much with the feds and everybody else on this case for fear. At this point, you open your mouth. You say something. You've got the entire world looking at you. You freaking speak the truth. If this was some sort of organized something, if a group of guys came in and threatened you with weapons, like you speak. She hasn't done any of that. And the 2 roommates, they don't have similar stories. Dylan didn't hear whatever Bethany says that she heard, and Bethany didn't hear shit that Dylan says that she heard, and neither of them heard each other. How did Bethany not hear Dylan yelling their names? Probably because she didn't. Probably because she didn't. I don't believe a damn word she says. So then we have the 412. Xana still active on TikTok according to her cell phone activity. Now, again, when it came to the self-authenticating records, we had another problem with that. And this time it wasn't just a time zone issue, because the minutes were even different. So we've been told 412 since the probable cause for arrest. The self-authenticating records came out and had it at 3:16. See, if it would have been 3:12, I can say, yeah, that's a timeline issue. That's just a time zone issue. But with it being 4 minutes different too, that's a completely different problem. Time zones don't change your minutes. They only change your hours. That was an argument I had to have with a lot of people for some freaking reason. So I want information on that. And I'm wondering if there's a possibility that the TikTok activity, at least with timestamps and stuff, will release one day, or whatever they were using to say that it was at 3:16 in the morning is produced, because it's not correct. I mean, from what they're wanting us to believe, it's one or the other. And if it's 3:16, that's a problem. If it's 3:16, that's a huge problem. Dylan opens her door the first time and sees no one. Dylan opens her door a second time, thinks she hears crying. Kaylee crying in the bathroom, and a male in the bathroom with her say, it's okay, I'm going to help you. Now thinks it may have been Xana in the bathroom. What does what she thinks have to do with the timeline? It doesn't. Dylan opens her door the third time, sees someone dressed in all black, masked, holding an item like a vacuum. They were at least 3 inches taller than she is, or shorter. Get it right from what she said. They were approximately 3 feet away from her walking out the back slider door. That's not what she said. He looked at her before walking out. And so, see, and this portion right here is so freaking crazy because she never said a single word about the person walking out the back slider or them making eye contact at the first interview. It was, he was 3 feet away from me going in like that direction, so it's just assumed. Where in the world did, I can't remember the date. Was it the 11/17 interview where she started that shit? Oh, as the person was walking out, we locked eyes, because that wasn't in her original story at all. And that would also like screw up the state's timeline, honestly, because if you think about it. I don't know how long went in between her opening the door and, or at least what she's trying to say. Okay, just remember when we talk about this shit, it's in the most innocent of senses, because we're trying to make what they're trying to tell us make sense to the point where they understand it's bullshit, okay? Even if she would have opened her door, seen this person as they were walking towards the backslider, not watching them walk out of it, but walking in the direction of the kitchen is what she really is saying here, okay? How many minutes went by in between her shutting the door, getting the phone call from Bethany, having the conversation, texting each other back and forth, and then finally deciding to walk out the door, could there have been? Okay. And I say that because we know you cannot see the damn door from Dylan's door. If you stand in that threshold, you stand right there. And the way that the wall goes out and then cuts around, and then the way the oven is, you see the edging of the oven that touches where the slider starts, but the door is on the opposite side. You can't see that damn door. So I asked what I just asked about how long was it supposed to be in between, because they want us to believe this timeline is minute. So freaking small that it makes no logical sense to anyone that thinks in real terms, okay? So if you take the door being open and her seeing the person walking in that direction and then say, okay, to give this psychopath the benefit of the doubt, I'm going to say that she left her door and then went to go towards the living room, and as she's right there in that door's threshold, she happens to look over and sees the person walking out of the slider actually, and they lock eyes. That would completely ruin the state's entire story. Completely ruin their timeline. Because how many additional minutes are you adding, knowing that she doesn't go down to Bethany's until after that car already leaves? And knowing the logistics, knowing what's actually being said to us, her claiming out the door does not work unless she was already looking back as she was walking down to Bethany's. Minutes and 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 minutes later. Because what is it, like 24, 27, somewhere around there that she actually gets down there? It's a long time. And we've been listening to a lot of the Dylan stuff, especially the newer stuff. And it's ridiculous how much that story shifts. Constantly shifts. Bethany texted Dylan, so am I. I don't know why Whitcomb chose to be so ridiculous right here and not at least put like the initial phone call from Bethany in here to give it some context, but whatever. The rest of the text messages, so am I, my phone is going to die, F, come to my room, run down here, and then at 4:24 when Dylan is trying to call Ethan and a couple other people according to the phone records. This is the message to Bethany about being apparently scared, though, and then at 4:25, yeah, I know, but it's better than being alone. Dylan opens her door a fourth time, and before going down to Bethany's room, Dylan sees Xana on the floor in her underwear in her room, but doesn't go in. I don't really quite understand why they have this specific timestamp for this situation. Because, like we know that that's what she's claiming. And we know that this is the message, but this should have been, like, something more like digital to be specific enough for 4:27 in my opinion, but especially since Dylan calls Kaylee, because we know that like once she gets down to Bethany's room she doesn't try to call anyone else, I don't think, right? Maybe I'm wrong. You know what? Do we know the actual time that Dylan went down there? Because like they have right here at 4:28, Dylan sees a dark colored truck drive by when she gets down to Bethany's room. The only thing that they can really reference that with is the 1112 camera when like a dark vehicle comes in that has like a bassy engine and kind of gas hovers a little bit right there. Because you can't get a timestamp from an interview, especially for something that she's claiming that she sees out of a window. But could Dylan have seen that without being in Bethany's room? Yeah. She could have seen that from the living room window. Xana's room window. Yeah, she could have seen that from anywhere else. I don't know. I just feel like we maybe really don't have the timestamp that when she went down there. I don't know. Maybe we do. I just don't feel like we actually do. So then Dylan calls Xana again at 4:28. Bethany calls Maddie at 4:30. And then Bethany calls Kaylee at 4:30 per Noon's report. I don't give a shit about Noon's report. You should be giving me nothing but information from Bethany's phone records. You shouldn't be giving me anything from a report written by a dude who doesn't check his own freaking notes and get shit backwards. Seriously? Dylan messages to Kaylee, please answer according to Dylan's phone records. 4:45, neighbor Braden Paulo at 1127 King Road, number 3. Here's dog, stop barking. Sounds like someone let him inside. This shouldn't be here. What should be here is the sounds that are heard on the actual 1112 camera, not what someone heard themselves. This information is on the camera. You can literally go in and you can hear when the barking stops. So why are we referencing a report and what somebody is recollecting when you have a video with audio that you can go back and listen to? So then at 5 o'clock in the morning, it says that Dylan traveled 30.77, and I still don't know what that means. I'm still going to assume it means feet because we're in America. So that's what I'm going to assume. 30.77 feet. I mean, that's definitely probably upstairs, I guess. I mean, I don't know where the freaking chick went. But this is also, according to the text message bubbles, the 5 o'clock hour is when she starts taking a bunch of videos and photos. So she travels somewhere in the house and then starts taking a bunch of photos and videos after doing said traveling. What are you taking pictures of, Dylan? What are you taking videos of, Dylan? Curious. 5:25, white vehicle traveling northbound Johnson Road, then north on Bishop. That is the grand jury exhibit for the car for that camera. I don't understand why it needs to be labeled in here, though, as a grand jury exhibit. Why can't it be the Johnson Road camera or the Bishop camera or whatever the freaking company was where the camera was? Why is it listed in here as a grand jury exhibit? That's not citation of a source. Again, right here, white vehicle seen northbound, Stadium Way at Nevada Street, Stadium Way at Grimes, blah, 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 all the stuff we've seen. Why is it coming from Payne's supplemental report when we have the footage? Dumb. 7:30 in the morning, Bethany wakes up, tries calling her dad about her tooth. He didn't answer per Bethany's interviews. Why are you not just showing the timestamps that we have from their actual phones? That's not a timeline. Especially when it starts before 7:30, does it not? Pretty sure. I'm going to go pull up the bubble messages. Hold on, I gotta get them. There they are. Oh no, this is just Dylan's. Hold on. I'm looking for the most detailed one that they put of everyone's. Nope, it's not on this one. Hold on. Mm-mm. Okay, so it is 7:30. Okay. So for Bethany's, the only stuff we have for this time is at 4:37, she's on Instagram. At 7:30, she calls her dad. At 8 o'clock, she calls her dad again. At 8 o'clock, she calls another number. And then at 8:01, she calls her home line, which I guess is her parents' house line. And then at 8:02, she calls her mom. And then at 8:09, dad calls Bethany back. And then at 8:41 to 8:42, Bethany is taking photos while Dylan is on Instagram. And then an hour later, Bethany's mom sends her a text message. This whole spot right here. So yeah, it was 7:30. I thought it started at 7 for some reason, but it was 7:30. Okay. Activity sensor data reports Dylan distance traveled 3.52. Well, what was she doing at 8 o'clock over here? Instagram. 8:05, 8:06, and then it cuts off. Instagram, 8:10, Instagram. 8:11, Instagram. 8:13, Instagram. Yeah. Okay. But this is like what? This is like getting up off of Bethany's bed and walking to her door. Like, that's crazy that this is even bothering, except to like prove that she was awake, right? So 8 o'clock, Bethany tries calling her dad again, no answer. And it's colored in, even though it's like official information, because why are you telling me this in an interview when you have the exact freaking timestamps that's actually on the record? Why would you not just use the actual phone record? So stupid. Dumb. And again, right here, 9 o'clock, traveled 3.52. What was she doing at 9 o'clock? Oh, it cuts out. Look at that. So we have 8:15, we have 8:14 right here, and then 10 o'clock. And obviously there's information. But it looks like there's just like one line right here, and they whited it out with like a rolling whiteout marker thing. Like one of these, like the whiteout tapes. Because it goes all the way across. Right here. Obviously not as messy as that. But it goes all the way across. So that's interesting. Okay. So then we have right here at 9:12. It's so stupid. Per law enforcement, FBI report. Kohberger's phone pings in the area of South Highway 95 in Moscow, Idaho. A car matching the description of Kohberger's is seen on surveillance camera from 1311 South Main Street, Moscow, Idaho. We already know about the phone ping bullshit. And also when it comes to that camera footage, that is not that car. That's not even the same kind of car. Like, come on. That's the footage I've shown you guys where it's like coming from a gas station. Because it's from like the gas station down the road that meets Taylor in 95. And it's just a little white car that drives by. There's no insignia on it. You can't see who's in it. You can't tell what kind of car it is. And again, this is in the morning time. This is now during the daylight hours. Where's the footage of the car leaving Pullman? Where's the footage of that car literally anywhere else? Where's the footage of that car on the freaking highway? Where's the footage of where that car ended up going? You're sitting there telling me that you think that it's Kohberger's car at this timestamp, and you've got all these other freaking cameras and all these other businesses where you could have tracked that car's actual path of travel if you wanted to, and you never did? Because that's the only camera that you have in that daytime, in the daytime hours, with that small little white car on it that you could use to be close enough for your bullshit. They could have easily used the exact same way that they're trying to do all this dumb shit here for the timeline for this part of this, and they didn't. They didn't. And we know that they will use lighting, movement, and shadow movement in their descriptions. Because when it comes to the other cameras, like not to the other cameras, when it comes to the 1112 camera, and they want us to believe that the car went up and around like the back area behind the house, they're basing that off of the way that they claim headlights are bouncing off of other buildings and structures in the camera footage. So if you can use that camera footage that way, and now we have daylight and you can see Walinta Drive, why can't you clarify if one of the cars that passes Walinta at around that time frame is Kohberger's car, or even a car you think might be Kohberger's car? They haven't done that. They haven't gone in and traced this anywhere else. Just like they can't go back in and, or they won't because they know, or they have, and it did prove that Kohberger went the other direction than going towards Moscow because of that little discrepancy that they have. Because what did I say? They have all that footage. The 7-minute situation from court and now the whole fog light thing, they have all of that footage. They either don't want to because it will show this, or they already have, and it does show Kohberger's vehicle actually going in the direction he's claiming he went and not towards Moscow. Because you could have easily corrected this problem. You could have easily gone back in and looked for the right car and had it revalidated and been like, are freaking bad. And we are going to do everything we can to fix this problem. We've gone back in. We have new experts looking at it. Now we found the right timestamp, we believe. This is what we're going to submit to the court. You can make a work correction, but they haven't even bothered. Why? Because it probably shows what they don't want us to know. That he's not lying. Why else haven't they fixed it? So stupid. At 10 o'clock, Dylan sends 7 outgoing messages via Snapchat and receives 2 incoming. Content of messages unknown. But again, I say from before, if you have Ethan's messages from 9 o'clock the night before that are older than Dylan's, why don't we have Dylan's? That doesn't make sense to me. Showalter wakes up to watch the NFL. Why in the actual shitty shit do we need to know this in this official crime timeline? Why do we need to know that? I don't understand. Dylan accesses Indeed site on her phone. 10:03. 10:04 to 10:23, Dylan sends and receives multiple Snapchat messages. Contents of messages unknown. What time was it that she went upstairs? Like 11, I think. Yeah, right here. Okay. Now, right here, they do reference the King Road cameras. Why did I bring back these two? Oh, because of this right here. Okay. They do reference the King Road cameras when it comes to the guy that walked by and said that the front door was wide open. And then Dylan sends a text to Maddie, are you up? And this is a photo of Maddie's phone. Photo number 129 of Maddie's phone. So you're telling me that you don't have Maddie's phone record? So you open her phone and go to the text messages and take a picture of the phone screen instead of just having the what? Why is this? Why is this? Dylan text Kaylee, are you up? Dylan's phone records. See, so why didn't they just do this for this? Kohberger selfie in apartment bathroom. See, this says 10:31. Is that the time that they told us? Is that the original time that they said to us? I'm gonna have to go back in and check because I could have sworn my brain like did a somersault when they gave us the original selfie time because I thought it was 9:31. No, they have Kaylee's phone records. They can't access her phone. Her phone was locked. It's different. They had her phone records. The same way that the Goncalveses do, was just a search warrant. They couldn't get into her actual phone, like unlock the device itself for some crazy ass reason. I don't understand that. But I could have sworn they said it was like 9:31, and I was like, but that's crazy because these crazy ass people are trying to tell us that he spent 30 minutes driving back and forth to Moscow, but then somehow at 9:31 he's taking a selfie and his hair is wet like he just got out the shower and like got dressed. That shit doesn't make any sense. Maybe it was originally 10:31. I don't know why my brain is telling me that that's not what they originally told us. I'll figure it out. So then Showalter goes to Floyd's. Why? Why do we need to know that he went to the cannabis shop? I don't understand that. So then Bryan goes to the Washington Trust ATM in Pullman and pulls $100 in cash. Now, I don't know who it was, but I know I had a couple of comments claiming that the reason why they had him in Moscow between 9 and 9:30 was because he went to an ATM off of Highway 95. And I'm like, where in the actual shit are y'all getting that information from? I don't know where it ever came from. I have no freaking idea. All I know is that the documents never ever said anything about an address when it came to the ATM that they were mentioning. And this is right here, the first time that we actually do see, as far as my brain is telling me, that this actually happened in Pullman, which is what the majority of us like remembered anyway. Let's see. Not like remembered, but like we figured that because this is 10:49 and the timing that he is down in Lewiston, it's like around like the time it would have taken to drive down there. I don't know what he's pulling money for, but remember they also lied to us about his damn banking and finances because they tried to act like he never used his cards ever again for anything, but then they have all these transactions of him using his card that they've actually submitted to like the court. So what was the point in lying about that and how he paid for stuff after the crime took place? Because that shit didn't make any sense to me. I mean, we see him even like using a card at, well, can you tell? I think wasn't it the Albertsons video where we were like, holy shit, he's using a card? Because we see him like punch something in after, right? I'll have to go back and check, but I know for a fact that we have proof that he was still using his cards. So then at 10:52, Ethan receives notification that Sean Dremen sent a chat. And this is another thing that's work product. I wish I understood what all this was when it comes to this work product specific stuff that's not being labeled as Ethan's cell phone information. Did I ever look up Sean Dremen? I'm not going to show y'all because I don't like to just like throw people everywhere. But I want to look real quick and see if I can actually see this person. I usually just type in the name and then like Idaho. And if something's there, it's there. If not, then cool. I don't really try to do all that other stuff. Sean Dremen. I honestly just, I just don't want it to be the wrong person. So I try to be like super careful. Okay. No, that's not it. No, that's not the name. I'll have to take a little bit more time to take a look. Lots of Sean's for Idaho and different things. Also weird stuff. Okay. I'll have to dig a little bit further and see if I can find who this person is. I don't know. Y'all might know. He might be somebody from like Sigma Chi or something like that. Okay. Then the same guy, Justin Nadeau, returns from walking his dog and claims that the front door is still open. So see, and that's another thing. Let me look at the chat for a second. Do you guys remember when the information about the front door being open first came out, the way that the article was written was as if it was a female that gave them that information. Because we first read about that in like a news article. I don't remember who it was from. I don't know if it was reputable or if it was the Daily Mail. I don't. But the way that it was written, I could have sworn it made us, or at least it made me feel like the information was coming from a female. So when we found out that it was the guy that was walking his dog, it was interesting because I thought it came from a girl. I wish that damn, oh my God, could you imagine if that was an electronic lock on that door that actually kept like a log? That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. Okay, let's see. Okay. So then at 11 o'clock, it shows that Dylan. What the frick is a sample count? What? Activity sensor data reports Dylan total samples count 3. Distance traveled 120.75 and flights climbed 2. What is a sample count? What is a sample count with iPhone tracking? On an iPhone, a sample count refers to the number of times your device's sensor have recorded a specific event, such as a step, a pickup, or a motion sample during a given period. Okay, so yeah, 3 sets of activity, 3 movements. Interesting. So within those 3 movements, they were able to tell that she climbed up 2 flights of stairs and traveled a distance of 120, I'm going to assume, feet. 11 o'clock, Bethany wakes up. I put not confirmed because like she could literally say anything she wants in an interview. You know, there's no log that gets kept for whenever your eyes open up and your brain activates. So, okay. Ethan receives notification from his sister. Sorry, I fell asleep. And again, it's work products and not from Ethan's cell phone logs. I don't really understand that. Dylan on Instagram and Snapchat sending and receiving messages, contents of messages unknown. How, bro? How do you not, how do you serve a search warrant on Instagram and Snapchat and then come back with contents of message unknown? I don't understand. Jenna McClure sends a text to Bethany to see if she's awake. This should say per phone records because we have the phone records. Dylan sent a snap to Maddie asking if she is up. DM phone records show this was 10:23. Another example of why is this shit right here? This should not be on here at 11:23 just because she said it incorrectly in her Boise out of time zone interview. If this actually happened at 10:23, the way that it actually shows here that she did at 10:23, why is this information in here twice with the second time being an incorrect timestamp? Why is that the case? This is so stupid. Dylan accesses Yik Yak at 11:35. Dylan accesses TikTok at 11:36. 11:37. Dylan sends and receives Snapchat messages. Of course, they don't have anything on them. Dylan gets messages from her dad. Hey, DMM. I still find it really strange he calls her by her initials. And like, I don't have affectionate parents at all, but I still have nicknames. I couldn't imagine my parents calling me by my initials. That's just me, though. It just seems, I don't know. Okay, whatever. Hey, DMM, when can I call you today and just chat? Does 1 work or is 2 better? It's so weird. I just find this odd. Dylan responds, 2 works better. Message from dad. Okay, I'll call you at 2. Just 5 to 10 minutes, want to catch up. And in the middle of her doing this and sending these messages to her dad, she is walked up the flight of stairs. We know damn well that she has gone up 2 flights of stairs, meaning that you're on that damn 3rd floor. And if you're on that 3rd floor and you're not seeing Kaylee in her room, where's your ass going? You're going to Maddie's room. So you can lie to whoever you want to. And in this, she's still not telling her dad anything about what happened last night, about the guy, not knowing what's going on, the conversation happening right now at this moment in time with Jenna and Bethany, with Bethany going back and forth between Jenna and Dylan about, does Jenna need to come? I don't know. Hold on a minute. And all this other crazy shit. She doesn't say a freaking thing to her father. She pushes off the conversation as long as possible. And where is she at 2 o'clock? In an interview room at the police station. At least that's where we're actually probably not. I think at this point, they had barely just left the scene and they had gone back to whoever's freaking house they went to, I think Emily's, and they were hanging out there before they went to the damn police department because that's normal protocol. God damn. Bethany calls Jenna saying that her roommates aren't answering. And then again, this is also after Jenna has already sent messages. Are they on here? No, they're over here. What time does Jenna start messaging her? Oh, wait, no, this is Bethany's. I mean, this is Dylan's. I'm tripping. This way. Bethany calls Jenna. Oh, yeah, but there was a message before that. Wasn't there a message before that to Bethany? Am I tripping? Or, okay, yeah, duh, right here. Okay, 11:20. Jenna McClure. Oh, yeah, but then again, we can't really take that serious because that's for her little interview thing. Okay, well, oh, right here. Okay. So at 1:21, Jenna is texting Bethany and all this other stuff is going on. And she still is not telling her dad that all this stuff is happening while all this stuff is happening. Isn't that insane? I don't find an innocent reason for that in the middle of you freaking out, knowing like what you're about to have to do. You're minutes away from calling Emily and you don't tell. Okay. Dylan calls Emily a lot via Snapchat, 1 minute and 48 seconds. Dylan receives message from Jenna, bro. Dylan then texts Emily. See, this is the weird part. And do we have information about an actual text to Emily? I think we do, don't we? And I was like, what is that about? Because in the text message, it says, like, the information about the text message is that the text message is where the information about the guy in black came from. Okay, so here's the call. Was that it? Or maybe it's like in these, maybe. But that's how it was written before, was that DM calls Emily. And see, there's no message, there's no text message to Emily in their like original timeline. It's all a phone call. So then when she said that, when she said she texted Emily after the phone call, there's somewhere else we saw something. I know I'm not tripping. We saw something somewhere else. It might have been something from Emily. Maybe, I don't remember what it was. But we saw something somewhere else that said that Dylan was describing the fact that she saw a masked guy in black, like in the message. And I was like, okay, but y'all were on the phone for almost 2 minutes. So what was the discussion if you're having to text her about it after the fact? I guess it is right here. But you can't really take that serious because it's an interview. I would need, like, I want to see it. Jenna tells, text Dylan, do you guys need me to come and get you? Dylan accessed Instagram, 911 call placed by Bethany, and then Hunter and Emily on scene at 11:55 per Warner's report. But this shouldn't even be on here like this because we know that Hunter took off the second that he heard something on the phone and jetted over there before anyone else. And that Emily and Josie and Lyndon didn't even show up for another few minutes. We don't know really how long it was. Timeline is so bad. Doubling up on information. Some of the information they're doubling up on is incorrect. They've got timelines all over the place. A whole hour or two that you really can't even figure out which hour it's supposed to be because they've got their military time wrong. My God, bro. This is just so bad. Yeah. Yeah. And see, and the only thing I can assume, it's going to let me reopen it. Oh God, which one was it? Hold on. Because notice, like, she never said that anywhere else. Like, in all of the interviews that she did, we never heard her talk about messaging her dude. So when that came out, I was like, why isn't that something that she originally said? Because she's basically, what was it, the FBI one? She's basically saying that him telling her that it probably wasn't a big deal is like the reason why she said it wasn't a big deal. Like, again, like skirting the responsibilities. You know what I mean? That's like what she does. That's like her MO for every damn thing, is she skirts the responsibilities. Go back and find it, because there is timestamps of messages that we have for her in the bubble text, and we don't know who they are. They didn't tell us. So let me open this one back up and I'll go back and show y'all where those are. It's a feeling that we all understand. It's a feeling that we all understand. Okay, hold on. Up here. So we have, I said up here. Okay. Now, right here, we still don't know who this is. This is at 2:11. This is the weird conversation that could mean other activity in and out of that house that night. Because, as a refresher, she messages Eric and asks very specifically, with intent, are you driving tonight by chance? This is after they've already discussed food. I also will say again, I find it really odd that it's a, are you driving tonight by chance? Considering the fact that they are discussing who, like, this conversation is being had in Kaylee's room. They know it's Eric. So it's weird that she is asking like that. Very strange. But the weirder part is that she doesn't even read Home Dude's freaking message until 4:29. After she is already down in Bethany's room and every crazy ass thing has already apparently happened, she doesn't even bother reading Eric's message until 4:29. A, why are you opening it? B, why did you not even answer him when he answered you, when your whole intent was to go and get food? That's why I question what happened here. Did somebody bring them food? Did somebody come pick somebody up and take them to go get food? What happened here to where this ended up being something that you didn't even bother with 3 minutes later? And you can't say it's because, oh, you just fell asleep or blah, 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 whatever. You're literally having a conversation back and forth with someone. So you can't say that. Then you read it in a weird ass time that makes no sense whatsoever. You didn't bother reading it when you were on the phone adding a contact. Why are you reading it when you're down in Bethany's room and y'all are apparently flipping shit? That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me. But when it comes to where it possibly could have been Quinn Kelly, we'll go down here. There's messages and there's phone calls. Okay, so right here at 4:24, we have an outgoing message. This is when I'm assuming if she actually did, which we don't have that anywhere else, guys. We don't have DM, text, her boyfriend, or anything even generic when it comes to the other stuff. not really relevant, but then again, could be at the same time. So I don't know why they didn't add any of that in there. But then we have this outgoing call at 4:27. Another outgoing message at 4:27. And then another outgoing message at 4:27. What we don't see is the incoming message. Because here we have another outgoing message. Okay. Where is the incoming message from Quinn Kelly? Because what was it that she said in her FBI interview? Or wherever it was that she said it. I think it was the FBI interview. That he basically was like, you'll have a party house. People come in and out all the time. It's probably not a big deal. Doubtful. So where's the incoming messages where he apparently said this to her? Where's the answered phone call where he would have had the chance to have said this to her? All we're seeing is outgoing stuff. So where's the incoming? I don't know. Let's see. Xana outgoing. And then it comes the 5 o'clock hour where she is now taking videos and photos. See, we have incoming messages at 10 o'clock in the morning. One. Well, here's another one. And then outgoing. Yeah, where's the incoming from whoever? I mean, if they felt the need to tell us there's an outgoing message, wouldn't they also need to tell us there's a correlating incoming? So we can't even, now even that she's claiming that, we can't even claim it's true because the little bit of phone activity that we do have doesn't list anything about a response from Quinn Kelly. What she's going to do, she's going to pretend like that was all a dream too. I mean, what's her next bullshit ass excuse? So stupid. Making no sense. Making no, yeah, possibly burner phone, yeah. Or yeah, that part too. That part too. Oh my God, I didn't see this stuff. Okay. 2,400 time each to verify report. Thanks for the $2. I don't know how we can, I don't know how to verify that. I mean, I'll figure it out eventually. But I think what we're going to need is like phone reports. Like we can't really trust this timeline, but also remember this isn't the full thing. And I have requested it. And I told them exactly the way that it's in here. That it's 108 pages. Well, let me just read it. Let me read the way that I put the request. Open. So I said, it's come to the public's attention that a comprehensive timeline, you know, because you got to butter them up a little bit, was created for the 1122 King Road homicide case for trial/court use. This timeline is said to be around 108 pages or so with over 1,000 entries and was compiled by both ISP and MPD before being sent to the prosecutor's office in November of 2023. I am formally requesting a copy of this timeline as it was presented to the Latah County Prosecutor's Office. So we'll see what they do. Thank you for the $9.99, Amy. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But yeah, the only thing we can really do at this point is just be frustrated. Because hopefully we get that and maybe it'll clear some of it up and maybe we'll see that it was an AI error on Whitcomb's part. Because let's be serious, guys. The majority of us that have actually read this book feel like he didn't really write this book. Mistakes happen when human eyes don't double check programming. Just like mistakes can happen if programming doesn't double check a human. Okay. Like there's programs we've used spell check our entire lives, right? It's always helped us out. Stuff like that. Fine. But when it comes to truthful information, false, fact, bullshit, made up out of your ass stuff or something really from a document, AI can't do that. It really can't. Like, I mean, it can, but you have to have an engine that's really going to pay attention and you have to know how to put your prompts in there or it's literally going to grab shit from everywhere. I've said this one before and I guess I'll just reiterate this little story again. This was one of the companies that reached out for me to do a sponsorship with them. And I checked it out. They've been around for a while. It sounded like sort of like a Google Drive type program that could take all of your files, put them all together, and like technically like self-organize shit for you with the way that like you could get it all like set up. Like it would basically take keywords from like new stuff that you were implementing into your storage, and it would know like right where to put it basically because of the way that you set your own stuff up. It's called Dokio. Well, you guys never got a sponsorship ad from me about that company now, did you? No, you didn't. Because when I did my free trial to check it out, like I always do for everything before I come to you guys with anything, it screwed everything up. It took all of the files from Dylan Round's stuff and then mixed it up with the Bryan Kohberger stuff. And somehow Bryan Kohberger ended up being some sort of like bank robber who shot someone with a gun. Oh, crazy shit. So I took a screenshot of like, because it gave you like an AI summary, like on the side to let you know like what the folders were, what the summary was, sort of like the AI summary for like YouTube videos. And I have the screenshots in an email somewhere. I'll show them to you because I still have all of my old emails for this one company. And I was like, I'm not using this. Like, you can cancel my contract, sir. I am not wasting my time. I am not presenting this to my people. This is not going to pass go. This is not going to happen. No. And it was like a 2020 gun robbery, bank robbery thing. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, it was wild. Yeah, crazy as shit. I was like, this is not. We're not going to do this. Yeah, I always double check shit, guys. I do a lot of due diligence. That's why there's not a lot of sponsorships on here. The ones that I have done were legitimate. Are legitimate still technically, even though some of you know the problem. Oh, they paid me. They finally paid me. I'm never doing anything with them ever again. For those of you who know about that whole thing. And it wasn't Matchmasters. Matchmasters paid the company that I was working with to do the sponsorship. It's not the game. The game is not the problem. It was the company hired by the game in order to find people like me to do the sponsorships. It's not the game. It was Stream Elements. That was the problem. And the other company that I use, is it Influence Logic or something like that? That's who I use for Aura. And that's the company where I was like, yeah, I'm not doing Dokio. But like, I've had issues. Like that company, Influence Logic, is the only company that I haven't had any problems with. I also haven't like checked with them in a while to do anything. And they are constantly moving people. They play hot potato with like, I've probably had like 8 reps with them. It's ridiculous, honestly. But I had issues getting paid by Raycon. Okay. There's a whole story about me. If I didn't do my own due diligence, I probably still wouldn't have been paid by Raycon if you want to be so serious. And now with Stream Elements, a company that was around for like a decade that I did a lot of due diligence on. I contacted them on every platform I could to validate that the person reaching out to me actually worked for the company, and then through Matchmasters to make sure they actually partner with Stream Elements. I do my due diligence. I do my work. So when this reputable company that's been around for like a decade suddenly isn't paying people and is not being honest, and you have to go to social media and try to find the information yourself, I have now a new little bubble of PTSD for sponsorships. So I'm just probably not going to do any, which sucks because that's extra income. It's extra income for my family and what I'm doing here. And that really sucks that now I'm going to be even more turned off to it than I was before. I mean, look how long it took for me to even approve the first one, no matter how many people reached out to me. For those of you that have been here for a while, y'all know how many, y'all have been here for all of this. But now I just like, I can't trust y'all, because even if y'all are reputable and even if y'all do have a good history, the craziest shit happens just because I'm part of it. So I don't know if y'all are going to see a sponsorship on here for a while. I think I'm going to have to take a breather from that one because that's 2 big companies and I just can't. Like Raycon changed their payer. Like there's a platform that they use to pay their people, and the time came around that I wasn't getting any notifications. I was logging into the pay portal, nothing was updating, blah blah blah, whatever. It took 3 or 4 weeks before somebody finally got back to me to tell me that they changed their entire program for how they paid their sponsor people. So I had to go and reset up an account on a completely new platform that I wouldn't have even know about if I didn't do my own research and try to figure out what was going on, because nobody at Raycon was reaching out to me. And this was a direct sponsorship. This wasn't a third party thing like with Influence Logic and Stream Elements. It was direct to Raycon headquarters. Changed their payment platform and never sent me an email. Never told me anything. There was no updates on the platform that we were using. Nothing. I had to freaking chase all that down myself. It's stressful. Everything. It all sucks. Yes, my PTSD has subclassifications. It sure the frick does. Oh, damn. Ridiculous. That's all I need. It's just too much. It's just too much. Oh my God. That was fun. I really hope that I can make time like on a Wednesday to hop in there and do like maybe 2 hours on a Wednesday, like right smack dab in the middle of the week. Because Tuesdays and Thursdays are when I can do like double lives because of my work schedule for my main channel. But I'd like to do like a live on Wednesday over there. But it would have to be like early afternoon. Like 1:45 is probably like the earliest on Wednesday I could do it. Unless I push it. No, I don't want to really deal with them. I could change my schedule. Like I could pretty much just do whatever I need to do. As long as I do my work, it doesn't really matter. If I wanted to like clock in a couple hours late on Wednesday and like just work later to make it up, I could technically go live on Wednesday morning to keep the morning thing. We'll see. I would just like to do more than one a week, you know, because I want to dig into the alien stuff. 2 hours and we only got through the first page because, you know, I'd be talking all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. Oh, and he's so cute. My daughter's name is Ariel, so I've got all kinds. Look, let me see if I can turn the camera so you can see this part too. Hold on. These drawings right here on the wall, I drew these, not her, but I drew him and I drew Sebastian 9 years ago, when we were still in office before COVID for a Halloween party, because our section was like the Little Mermaid and they did like decoration contests. So we would get like poster boards and all kinds of stuff and like decorate our office areas and like these little pods of like just different things. And we had the Little Mermaid for 1 year. And so I drew those. There was a mermaid too, but they wanted to keep it. We made it a, you know, like the beanbag toss game. It was a big, huge, like about as tall as me, I guess, mermaid that I drew, and like we were able to cut out pieces and like make it a beanbag toss game, and they decided to keep it. They asked me if they could keep it because I was going to bring that home and make it part of my little decoration too, but they asked if they could keep it so that they could use it for like other, you know, office games and stuff, so I let them keep it. Don't scan my room for next sketches, you freaking weirdo. Thank you for the 5, Gina. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I can draw. I freehanded those. I just looked at a picture on my phone and freehanded them with a pencil and then went back in with some Sharpie. I'm still impressed with myself, if you want to be so serious. I'm still impressed with myself. All right, I'm going to get off of here. I don't know if I'm going to go live later tonight. I had planned on it because there's like documents in the unsealed stuff that we still need to go over, and some of them are small enough for us to be able to like get done in like an hour and a half or so. So we might go like live later tonight. We'll see. We will see. Oh, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships, Kay Schmidt. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Congratulations to those who get those. I saw I clicked on this. To what? You made me a baby? I wonder if it looks like my kid. Does it actually take my face and like make me a baby, or is it just like a generic baby? I wonder if it actually looks like my kid. Okay, I'll go check it out on my phone here in a minute. I wonder if it looks like my daughter. That'll be weird if it looks like my kid. It does look like me. I wonder if it looks like my kid then. Yeah, repost it so I can go check it out. Wonder if it looks like my daughter. That's so funny. All right, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. Like I said, I don't know if I'll be live tonight. I want to go live tonight, so we probably will go live tonight, but we will see. Just don't hold your breath. Cross your fingers, but don't hold your breath. That's the best that I could tell you. Thank you so much for being in here. I appreciate it so much. You guys are awesome. Thank you again for the super chats and the super stickers, the FOIA fund support, because that's what's so important is all this actual official information. I hope they give us this timeline. It's going to be a lot of info. We're definitely going to have to go through it in sections if it's 108 pages of timeline, but it'll be worth it. It'll be so worth it. And again, thank you so much for the gifted memberships. I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here. You might see me later. You might not. I don't know. But y'all have a super, super great evening. Don't let tomorrow being Monday drain all of your joy. Thank you for the $4.99, buddy. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You'll have a great rest of your afternoon. I'm going to go fill up some more coffee. I don't know. I feel like waking up. I feel like I'm kind of hyper. Maybe I don't need any more coffee. I'll lay off the coffee. Y'all have a great rest of your evening. Hope y'all have a great afternoon. See y'all. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that the notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives.